Even more live shows with Adam Carolla at the end of this month in Bellflower, California. 2 shows at the Stand-Up Comedy Club on May 24th. Then on May 30th, he travels up to Washington for 4 shows at the Tacoma Comedy Club in Tacoma. May 30th and 31st. Then off to Spokane, Washington at the Spokane Comedy Club on June 1st. Tickets for these and more at adamcarolla.com. He wasn't elected Pope, but he does like to pontificate. Adam Carolla.
Yeah, get it on. Got to get on. Erica Rhodes back in studio. Very funny comedian. Seen her up close and personal performing, and you will not be disappointed if you go out and see her. She got dates coming up: Syracuse, Rochester, New York, and Erica Rhodes Comedy.com is where you go for all the live dates.
Yes, thank you.
Let me ask you something. I never thought about this till today. I was sipping coffee in a hip coffee place, and I was looking at all the young folk who work there with like the tattoos and the piercings and the garb, expressing themselves in this hip environment. And I thought, when I was young, there wasn't hip places to work. There was like McDonald's, there was a liquor store, you could work at Vans shoe store. It was like shoe stores, liquor stores. You could mow lawns or rake leaves. We didn't have like a hip place to land where you could like express your hipness at work and might even be part of the hiring process, because they didn't want any squares coming in there mucking up the vibe,
Right.
And so they had the music playing, they had hip music playing. That guy had the tattoo, that girl had the tat and the pierce. Weird nonsensical, weird kind of ghost back of the arm. Like, I don't know what the fuck. Like, when I was a kid, it was like, what was the name of your ship in the Navy? And the guy'd roll the sleeve up, and that was the tattoo. It was the ship, or it was mother, or it was wasn't some weird ghost of a Jayhawk or something on the back of the fat chick's arm. But I don't like any of these people, don't get me wrong, but I was like, there's a bunch of hip places to work now, and I was thinking, what were later on, a independent video store would be
all right.
like where
era.
you could express your
Quentin
hipness.
Tarantino grows up in
Right,
there.
right.
Or they had record stores too, right?
Yeah, they had record stores.
Wasn't that sort of the 80s cool thing?
You could have a ponytail and know a lot about Janis Joplin or something, but it wasn't like an entire... Because at some point, someone's got to take the fucking garbage out. You know what I mean? And which hipster's raising their hand for taking the garbage out? Maybe that's where the Mexicans come in. I don't know.
Just one guy in the back.
One Mexican. For every 7 hipsters you employ, you need 1 Mexican because they got to do work.
Right.
So you're mad that you had a latte with a heart in it? Is that what this is?
I'll say this. It's a little homoerotic when the 45-year-old guy behind the counter slides the 6-year-old guy the latte with the heart.
Little heart.
Did you do a meet cute right there?
Will you be my phone?
Oh, my goodness.
Do they call them barista? Can you call them baristas anymore, or do you call them coffee artists?
I believe it's baristo. Okay, respect my pronouns.
I don't know. But, will you be my foam Valentine? It's kind of weird. Exactly. Our combined age is 100. You know what I mean? We're probably past this stage.
How much
in
eye
life.
contact did you make with this guy?
Enough to get a message
Wow.
sent across. No, I think this guy, I have got the heart a few times. And I don't think the heart should be on the table, literally or figuratively, because it implies something. It has baggage. Heart is Valentine's.
I think it's because a heart's the easiest one to do.
It must be.
If they really like you, they'll do a leaf.
The
leaves are harder to do.
The leaves are harder.
I want them to do a rabbit that is a duck when you turn it upside down.
Yeah, well, maybe you should be able to make a request, because when I was a kid, we did pancakes. We made shapes with the pancakes.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. Remember when you went to, was it Friendly's?
We didn't have them out
Friendlies?
here.
You
but
didn't have friendlies?
We had bitters.
We had Shoney's.
Just angry people.
Oh.
It was called bitters. It was middle-aged divorced women. They smoked and they yelled, "What do you want?"
Wow, things were tough back
Yeah,
then.
yeah.
My first job was an usher at Symphony Hall, which is probably the dorkiest job.
Wait, it's good. I want to circle back to the pancakes in the shape.
Okay, yeah.
Wait, you made like
No,
duck pancakes
if you
or
went as a kid.
shape?
No, as a kid, a really special treat was if you went to Friendly's and they made your pancake like Mickey Mouse or something.
Okay.
You know?
I mean, that's pretty simple, though. Everyone is Mickey Mouse.
Mickey Mouse
Well, they
is
have
one
the
lumberjack
cutout thing.
and $2 silver for
Yeah.
ears. Come on. That's
But
not
they would
even...
do a nose and things like that
Oh,
with,
okay.
with the fruit.
With the fruit.
Yeah.
All right. So that was nice. Yeah, we had IHOP out here, which was
Okay,
a
we still
a
have that.
treat. Yeah, yeah. I just mean, this is a million years ago, but they had... If IHOP would be a big treat place to go to.
Right. I don't remember having IHOP. I remember Ground Round, which was a cool kid place in Boston.
Mm-hmm.
And then I remember Friendly's. And was there another one? that was...
Did your parents take you out often? Was it just a special occasion type thing?
I think it was just a special occasion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Used to be a treat.
We didn't have, my parents worked a lot, so we didn't have a lot of, family dinners.
So they'd be working at night and stuff like that?
My mom is a violinist. So,
Right, and your dad
she would work
Plays
till
the clarinet,
late.
played the clarinet.
He was clarinet, but he was a CPA. So,
After that, yeah.
so he was working during the day, and my mom was working at night.
Your mom was jamming all night? Like Dave
Well,
Matthews?
She was in the Boston Pops.
Right,
And so,
and they'd always have shows?
Yeah, they would have shows, and then they'd have rehearsals.
Oh, okay.
So she'd get back from concerts at like midnight.
So you're like latchkey kid.
I was, but a weird kind of latchkey, like musician latchkey.
Yeah, well, you played the cello.
Yeah.
Right? So would you be responsible for your own dinner?
Kinda. I don't remember really having a lot of homemade meals.
Yeah.
And
I got that too.
I ate a lot of cereal.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I think I lived off cereal and ramen.
Yeah.
Those two things.
Yeah.
And my mom would make, once in a while she'd make dinner.
Uh-huh.
But it was sort of laissez-faire.
Yeah, I had a mom who didn't make dinner except for she wasn't in the Philharmonic. She didn't do anything. She just did nothing.
She just
But
did
is that-
nothing?
That's the
I would
brand
say
of
that's
TV dinner.
That's fair. Yeah.
So she was was she a stay-at-home mom who wasn't momming?
She was a
Stay-at-home.
My mom was a stay-at-home person.
Okay.
I would just
stay
call
at
it
home.
that.
She was just staying at home.
She would stay at home and do the same thing whether she had kids or not kids, but she was
Okay.
staying at home.
I always imagine her in a muumuu. I mean, is that
No.
accurate? No. What was her outfit?
Was she an
'Cause
alcoholic? She wasn't an alcoholic, right?
No.
She was just chilling.
She was just chilling. I guess there was kind of a moo-moo, but there was sort of a joke 70s, 80s Southern moo-moo, and then
Yeah.
there's just dresses fat people wore, which
And-
is never form-fitting. You know, they're
And for
always
some
kind of a
reason, the
nightgown.
cap. I always imagine her in like maybe I just think of a cartoon bad mom.
Was she more just passive?
Yeah.
she
Yeah.
just-
I know,
that's what I'm
that's
asking.
that's more what I'm picturing.
No, but the cap, you see, you can't picture things because
Yeah, okay.
things are stuff and stuff needs to be purchased and then effort needs to.
she didn't
wearing
put
a cap.
effort in.
You're wearing a cap because you have
Okay,
curlers under
okay.
your hair or something.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
You're,
No.
something.
that's more like
But just-
that's like a '60s mom.
yeah,
right?
she
The
didn't-
curlers,
She just chillaxed.
an espresso martini.
A woman of leisure.
She would have never. I don't think my mom's ever had a martini in her life.
Really?
That would require effort.
Well,
Well,
she
now
would have
my
had to go
image
to
is ruined.
She would have to go to like a steakhouse. Look, the image you need to have my mom is no image.
Oh, really?
That's
This
the
is
whole
really
thing.
hard.
It's not
It's-
stuff.
She just wasn't contributing a lot.
She just was, but she
Okay.
didn't do. She wasn't.
She didn't do much.
Everyone's mom's got their own story. Like my
Yeah,
mom
yeah.
loved to go to the track,
Right.
or she loved to drink at the whatever. She loved something. It could
Yeah.
be. That's detrimental sometimes. Maybe it's a waste of time. Maybe the reason she wasn't cooking dinners because she was at the casino because she loved
Yeah.
playing Keno or something. Mom didn't have any of that. No trappings.
my mom
No,
loved to
nothing.
So-
aerobicize, so my
Really?
image
Oh,
in my head
really?
is of her in the '80s leggings with the thing.
Well, that's kinda hot.
Go ahead.
Yeah, that's cool. My mom was into music and religion and reading, and she had a lot
Your
of
mom's
interest.
an intellectual. I mean,
She
Boston
is.
Pops is a big deal.
And she was a lawyer. She got into Harvard
oh
Law.
my God.
And she turned it down.
Oh my God. What an overachiever.
Yeah, she's very type A.
She
Wow.
inspired a lot of discipline in you then, because I can
Yeah,
see your comedy.
probably.
You work hard. I always see you post. I always see
Oh,
Instagram.
thanks.
You're a very hardworking woman.
Oh, I appreciate
and it looks
that.
like you're climbing the comedy ranks.
Oh, thanks. I'm glad it looks like that.
I just have a rosy view then.
No, I never know. You feel sometimes like it's a hamster wheel where you just keep going.
Yeah.
I don't know where the thing about comedy, I always tell everybody, they go, oh, you do comedy because you come from blah, blah, blah. I go, look, your mom and my mom couldn't be further away than a Jew and a Palestinian. Like they are as far. There's as much real estate between
Right.
your mom and my mom as a human
As wide
beings.
as the West Bank.
Yes, as humans have ever created.
Right.
As you describe your mom and as I know my mom.
Yeah.
Well, we both ended up in comedy.
But what about your
somewhere.
dad? Your dad was more of a personality?
Yeah, a little bit like my mom, just minus some of the, depression, I guess. But he didn't
Right.
do anything either. So I don't know. There was nothing that came from him either.
Yeah, so it's just sort of an enigma when people get into it.
I think it's like you are funny, and so you do it. But I don't.
Yeah.
I don't think it's much different than having curly hair or straight hair or something. We offer too much stuff into stuff. It's just like some
Yeah.
genetic thing. Right?
That's true. I mean, did you find your parents funny at all, or no?
My mom's the least funny person I've ever met in my entire life. My entire life.
I'm like fascinated now by your mom.
Oh, I'm not even really. I'm not saying it's a put down per
Yeah,
se.
yeah,
She's
yeah.
just the least funny person I've ever met in my life.
Wow. And then
Yeah.
your dad's a little funny?
A little bit.
Dude, my mom's the funniest. I'm sorry, my mom. I know my mom listens and she's going, you better tell them I'm funny. My mom is the funniest, craziest lady on earth. So every time you see me like wig out like that, that's my mom coming
Is your
out.
mom high energy?
Oh my God.
She
is
seems high
ever?
energy.
Oh,
She's a
yeah.
robosizer.
Yeah. Oh yeah, she's a robosizer.
Still going strong. Yeah.
My mom's
Wow.
high energy, but she's like I think my mom has a secret desire to be an actress. Like she acts a lot, just in
Well,
real
your
life.
mom. I mean, there's nothing she can't do.
Right.
As I've.
She's also she likes copywriting too. She'll edit people's books and stuff like that.
Oh.
And she's very good at Scrabble.
I gotta talk to this lady, huh? I'm not good. I love all those things.
You could call her in. She'd love it.
Well, let me ask you.
Oh my goodness, that's a new level, Eric.
Let me-
Breaking the fourth wall. I love it.
Let me ask this. And by the way, you don't have to figure my mom out. You just think
no.
nothing. Just think
we've
nothing.
Stopped, we've
and you'll be
stopped
fine.
trying to figure it out now.
All right. Now, here's I'm curious about self-esteem and things of that nature. I'm always trying to figure it out with people.
Yeah, I think we talked about that last time, actually.
Yeah, and like I said, I see a lot of people just spit their gum on the sidewalk, and I'm like, ugh, what the fuck? Like, put it. And I wouldn't say ruined pants, but I've fucked up pants many times by going through them in the laundry. That go through the laundry, and I realized I put gum in my pocket.
Oh my God!
Because I didn't have a wrapper. And I was standing somewhere in front of a movie theater or something, and I did not want to spit it onto the sidewalk, and there's nothing to do with it, and I literally just put it in
ruined the whole pants.
my pocket. Just one pocket. But the point is I would never do that.
Right.
But I'm not even that good a person. I just wouldn't do it. But I have a wiring that you're not supposed to affect other people in a negative way. But here's an interesting test.
Okay.
I was doing some shows in Florida. I got into the elevator. I was on the third floor. It was just going from the third to the lobby the whole time I was there. But some reason it stopped on the second floor unexpectedly. And a guy walked onto the elevator, a nice middle-aged guy holding a DeWalt box, I think, with a screw gun or a circular saw in it or something. He walked on. Well, it was right as I had called Mike August. And so right when the door opened, Mike was picking up in his room, and I said, "How you doing?" And this guy went, "How you doing?" as he walked into the elevator. I froze for a second. I had Mike on the line. This guy was so friendly. He seemed so happy. I said hi to him, but I didn't say hi to him. I said hi to Mike. But his timing was that he just walked on.
And had two conversations at the same time, like a ninja.
And I looked at the guy, he was smiling, and I looked down at the phone, and I hung up on Mike.
Yeah, that's cool.
Mike's a big boy. Mike will get the fuck over it. And I knew I'd call him 5 minutes later when I got to
Because you would rather talk to the guy in the hallway?
Hell yeah.
No, not.
Oh, I thought you were a man of the fans.
I thought you were making a choice.
Yeah, I thought you were like, you know, I'm going to talk to this guy. Might be a fan, get some feedback.
Wait, calm down. Do you think this is a parable about me talking to fans over talking to Mike August, or?
No, I did. I at first thought you were annoyed with the guy.
No, I said hi.
But then it sounded like
he
you
said
were
hi.
actually kind of liked him, and then it sounded like you hung up, like that you made the choice to hang up. But now you're saying, did you?
But
hang
why
up
did I hang up?
I thought you were going to engage with the other guy.
Yeah, but if Dawson gets it and you two don't, that's
he hung up
I
because he
thought
didn't
you
want to
were-
explain to the guy, no, I wasn't talking to you. I was talking to August on the
Did you
phone.
needed that for this to get that out of this?
Well,
Millennials or something.
that is very thoughtful. That's
Yeah,
more
yeah.
thoughtful.
That's why I set the table with saying like a low self-esteem, don't want to put other people out. That's why I
But
led
also,
into the story with
it's
that.
quick thinking. I don't think I would have thought that quickly. I would have just been like caught up in the moment and been like, "Oh, sorry, I'm not talking." You know, never.
I didn't want to say I'm not talking to you.
I think
that's
I
what I
understood
didn't
it
want to
because
say.
I've done that before.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I think you guys could have understood it
No, I just
anyway.
don't
No,
give a shit.
I understand it now. I just don't think I would have thought so quickly in the moment.
I'm glad that you're turning it into a compliment, but it wasn't much. The guy thought I said hi. We're standing in an elevator, and I didn't want to put my hand up to him and go, I'm on the phone.
So you get his business card, you get off on the same floor?
I just hung up because Mike's a big boy, number
Yeah.
one. Number two, his phone's always cutting out. And number three, I'll be in the lobby in 3 minutes, and I'll literally just call Mike right back, and he'll be fine. Mike will even forget that we talked.
What's he doing with the circular saw? What is this guy going up to the room and cut off a door and steal
We were
all the
heading
jewelry?
down.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But I don't know what he was doing with it. But the point is I felt so weird and bad that this guy thought I said hi. It was going to make him uncomfortable when I said I'm not talking to you. And he'd go, "Oh, sorry."
But
or we'd
called
feel weird.
you called him, or he called you.
Mike?
Did Mike call you, or did you call
All right,
him?
let's go. Let's review the story. I'm on the third
I can
floor.
already hear the comments.
I'm
like,
coming
she's
down.
so dumb.
I call Mike. He picks up right when the guy walks in, and I go, "How you doing?" And the guy looks at me and he says, "How you doing?" And now we're alone in the elevator, and he thinks I talked to him.
I get it. I get it.
Y'all
You are taking care of the stranger. I thought you were taking care of Mike.
Yeah, by hanging up in his
Right.
face.
That's what I thought.
Why was I taking care of Mike?
Because I thought you didn't. I thought you were saying hi to the stranger, and you didn't want to tell Mike that you weren't talking to him.
Cheating on him with the stranger with the circular
No,
straw?
I called Mike, and Mike picked up right when. All right, I'm going to move on to the next. I should work these things out in advance. Some of these are easy, some are difficult.
No, I get it now. I get it now. I just think that you were overthinking it in the moment.
Nah, I get
Right?
it.
What do you? Well, I didn't
also,
want
you
to make the guy feel weird.
Oh yeah, no, that makes sense.
But I'm asking, what did you talk to this guy? That was it?
I asked him about a circular saw.
What happened?
It wasn't that I needed to continue. It's that I didn't want to tell him I wasn't talking to him when he started talking again in the elevator. I didn't want to put my hand up and point at the phone because it's shaming. It's
well,
like it's weird.
I have a question similar to this, which is, if you're in a Lyft or a cab or something, do you ever make phone calls? And if you do you ask the driver, do you mind if I make a phone call? Or do you just make a phone call? And
I will give a little primer. Well, first I'll size it up. Like, how thick is this guy's accent? Because if it's super thick, we don't need to.
I've done
I don't
that
need to
too.
lay any groundwork for this. But I will either give the guy a little primer, or whoever I'm talking to, I will lay it in early. Like I'll go, Diane, I'm calling you from an Uber. And so he can get everything. But I don't just go, how's it going? Because then that's going to get him to say something back.
That's what I do too. Yeah. I either say, do you mind if I make a call? Or
Damn, y'all got social anxiety disorder. Cause I just like, yo, what's up? Hey, I'm gonna put you on speaker with my Uber right now. Hey, what are you doing, bro?
I do have social anxiety.
My greatest fear is to have that person think I'm engaging with them and I'm not.
Right. Exactly. That's what
I had it with Dancing with the Stars. I was using the little bathroom by the side stage. Had some little bathroom next to the stage. And I was like, I think I was standing at the, I walked in to hit the stall, to hit the urinal, and there was a guy in the stall. And like, as soon as I walked in, I just heard, hey, how's it going? And I was like,
oh my God.
But it's a crew, it's a small crew, and they get to know you, you know?
Right.
So I was like, I pull up into the urinal, I'm like,
You're like, okay.
Not too shabby, you know, doing all right. And then I said, not too bad getting paid to take a crap, huh? And the guy goes, I'm on the phone. And then I felt shame wash over me.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Who was that? Chuck Liddell?
Yeah, no, I get that.
Different
situation.
I've had it happen in Laurie's restaurant where like a big black guy like walked in and my back was turned, and right as the door swung open, he did, how's it going? You know, first off, you got to time it with the door opening.
Yeah.
That was the problem. The elevator doors opened right as I said, how's it going to Mike? And that guy was just standing right in front of me. And that's where the problem kicked in.
Yeah.
But you can't walk into a bathroom and yell, how's it going? And you can't have a guy walk in and you yell, how's it going? You got to time it.
Yeah, I don't think you should be making phone calls in the bathroom.
You don't think so?
No, that's not cool.
Yeah.
Kind of gross.
But, you know, with these guys, is it gross?
Yeah, why?
Well, I mean, these
what do you
guys,
mean?
there's like stage guys. So when they get out, they're working. Like,
yeah, but
they
like,
can't.
But like then your phone is contaminated, basically.
Oh.
In my head, I'm like, it's contaminated.
Wait, do I contaminate the person I'm calling to, or is it just limited to my phone?
No, it's just your phone.
I didn't know how far we're going to go with this.
You're doing whatever a man does.
Yeah.
You're touching the phone, and then you go, oh, look at my picture.
No. But see, but it's
picture.
AirPod Nation now, so you can like answer the phone like this. And them
Oh,
AirPods
that's true.
almost got a nice Mexican
I'm picturing
gentleman.
an actual. Yeah, I'm still picturing that the phone is somewhere in the vicinity.
So
with the hand.
All right. So, but you know, they always do this thing where they find more germs and fecal matter on the keyboard at work than they do on the toilet seat at work.
Really? But
You never hear those studies?
no,
It's always a good one.
That's because of your hands.
Whatever
don't
it
wash
is,
their hands.
it always turns out the innocuous thing that everyone handles. There's stuff in life we'll all handle. Like, okay, no one touches the handle at the door at the airport, you know? But then they walk out, they go to the kiosk, and there's the cooler, and they just grab the handle, and they slide. No one uses their sleeve or their elbow to open. Well, the cooler's just got a bunch of traveling hands on it, just like the bathroom handle does, you know? And they always do a test, and they figure out that the seat cushion... You know what's got to be the most contaminated thing on the planet is that donut that goes around your neck when you travel. It's always falling on the ground. It's on your backpack. You put it in the bathroom,
What
falls over.
donut? What's a
the
donut?
travel donut that goes around your neck.
Oh, yeah. No, I don't use that.
Yeah, a lot of germs.
One time during COVID, I saw a guy literally crawl down under, the bar at the bank, so you're in the line.
Mm-hmm.
He literally went down on the floor, crawled under it. So he's like literally on the rug to get hand sanitizer.
He didn't want to touch. He didn't want to touch the bar.
No, he was like cutting in line, but he was like somehow he thought that was the quickest way. So he wasn't even thinking about how gross the floor is, and literally was like his whole body was on the floor. Because he was so desperate to get the hand sanitizer.
So did he lube up after that all over his body with a hand sanitizer?
It
was the weirdest thing I've ever seen.
You don't but you're not germophobic, right?
The more I travel, the more I become it because I just notice little things. Like in New York, everybody was coughing into the air.
Yeah.
Like they think that because you're outside and you walk past someone, you can just cough without covering your mouth.
I don't get the non-hand coughers, but you know who's one? Dr. Drew.
Really?
He coughs. I've sat in the studio with him for 30 years. He just coughs right into the wild.
He'd rather
That's
soil
a pet
his
peeve
hands.
of mine. I do not like that.
Yeah, I don't like that
even
either.
outside, because outside you're like, someone has to, in New York, everybody's walking past each other.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm with you. I'm with you on that.
And then I don't like when someone hands me their phone to put my number in or something, because I don't know where their phone's been.
In the bathroom, evidently.
In the bathroom.
So you're not really
I'm not crazy,
germophobic, but you got some thoughts.
Yeah, I have a little
Like
OCD maybe.
I think most comedians have more thoughts about germs.
Probably. We just notice details more, so we notice what people are doing.
Yeah, unless podcast stars telling a story, in which case it gets a little fuzzy with the details. But okay. But you're talking about more hard details.
Not like really difficult details where it's like a really hard story.
So you figure as a comedian, you're up in your head a little bit, right?
Yeah, I think so.
And so you're walking around and your kind of head's on a swivel and you're constantly going, what's up with this? And why not that? And how come this, right?
Yeah.
And you're trying to cobble together some meaning where there's no meaning, but then sometimes you go, well, that's a joke. That could be something. What's up with that, right?
Yeah, you look for mini hypocrisies, too.
Mini hypocrisies.
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought up mini.
What's that mean? Like, I don't know any of those words.
Like coughing into the air, but then using hand sanitizer, something like that. That's
Right.
like a mini hypocrisy. To
Great.
me.
Speaking of mini, I was trying to get a thing going with Brad Williams. I spent a lot of time.
Mini.
I spent a lot of time. Andrew, look up. I was telling you, look it up on my liked tweets, but somehow we got sidetracked right in the middle of the Brad Williams one. But I was trying to put together a list of things because I was telling you guys that I said that Brad Williams, when he gets a massage, should get charged less. But like at the car wash, they would charge more for a van than they would for a Miata because
Right.
it's just more. You know
More
what
of
I
it.
mean?
More of it. Yeah.
Right. So then, yeah,
What did
there's
he,
a
what did
list.
he
I
say?
put together a list in there, Andrew. I sent it off this morning at like 10. He laughed, and then I start thinking about stuff, where he should be charged more or less for. Like, so it was easy to do the less part, like the buffet, less.
Because he's gonna eat less?
Everybody
Now you're
says that.
thinking like a comedian. Well, less than Mayhem would eat. Yes.
I'll whoop it down if we go on buffet.
I'm sure he has a big appetite. He's a strong guy. Like, he probably eats, like, that would be like saying women should be charged less because they eat less.
I think women should be charged less at the buffet.
At a buffet?
And women should be charged less for flight because they weigh less.
That's true.
And they're weighing your bag, so they should weigh you. You're 300 pounds and your bag's 51 pounds and you got to pay. And then there's a 130-pound chick whose bag is weighed as well. Like, why isn't it combined?
That's
I've
a
just
good
combined
point.
the two. Hydro. So the warm weather comes around and suddenly I'm juggling vacations and visitors and zero routine. You got to get back on that routine. Hydro brings me back to that structure so I can get a quick, effective workout that keeps me feeling grounded no matter what my calendar looks like. It's a beautiful machine. It looks fantastic. I have it in my living room. Looks like a piece of modern art. Hydro is a great full body workout. It hits 86% of your muscles, and you can knock it out in 20 minutes. So no excuses. And if you want to watch TV and you have a half-hour show or an episode of a show you like, back out the commercials. You're right at 20 minutes. Just knock it out with Hydro. So whether you're training hard or just trying to stay active, Hydro really meets you where you're at. It's low impact, it's easy on the joints, and it gives you a perfect mix of strength and cardio. And if you're on the fence, there's free shipping and a 30-day risk-free trial offer, and Hydro offers a full-year warranty. So honestly, there's no pressure. Just try it out and see how great you feel. I love my Hydro. It's Hydro. I use it every day. Right, Dawson?
Skip the gym, not the workout. Stay on track with Hydro. For a limited time, go to hydro.com and use code Adam to save up to $475 off your Hydro Pro rower during Hydro's Memorial Day sale. That's HYDROW.com, code Adam to save up to $475. Hydro.com, code Adam.
Homes.com. Well, some might say Homes.com is the best home shopping site. Yeah, I would say that. Maybe Homes.com's super comprehensive and transparent agent directory. Or maybe it's that Homes.com is the only site that always directly connects you with the listing agent who knows all the best info about the home. The person who knows the home the best. Perhaps it's because Homes.com has the most in-depth neighborhood content of any home shopping site that's extensively researched to highlight the personality of each neighborhood. Homes.com goes above and beyond to bring home shoppers the in-depth info they need to find the right home. Homes.com. We've done your homework. I'm guessing that 100-pound people eat less than 200-pound people at a buffet. I'm going to go out on a limb.
They're not going to weigh everybody before they go into the buffet and say, this is what we're going to charge you.
Oh, no. At Carolla Airlines, we will.
So I was trying to think of things they should charge more for or less for.
Okay.
So, and it goes both directions. I think they should be charged. I think Brad should get a break on the buffet and the massage, but he should be charged more for a bed because a regular sized bed is like a California king to him.
Okay.
I am 6'2" and I got a long wingspan, and a regular twin or whatever, my feet hang off the end. Like, it's not
But
comfortable.
then what about kids? Like, you should charge kids less for a bed?
Well, kids are going to grow out of this, and they don't purchase their own beds.
That's true.
So, and I'm trying to remove the kids' items from the table.
Okay.
Like Mike August said, belts. And then I said, well, you can buy a kid's belt, and they would charge you less.
Yeah,
They go,
if you can substitute it for something.
You can't say Nikes. You can't say clothes because it's kids.
Yeah, kids' clothes cost. Well, that's what I think. So Aviator Nation, you know that brand that's really expensive. Mm-hmm. I wanted to get my nephew a sweatshirt from there. They cost the same as an adult sweatshirt.
Oh, really?
And they're tiny. They were like little baby sweatshirts.
I don't know. Like, what is a Nike for a 4-year-old? A Nike for a 4-year-old has to be cheaper than a Nike for a 30-year-old, right?
Sometimes
like size 12.
Sometimes it's not.
Yeah,
I know. That's why I'm saying
scarcity.
Nike, though. I'm
Okay,
saying that's
I don't
why
know
I'm
about Nike.
getting specific.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, buffet. I think they should be charged more for rent.
Why? Oh, because they have more space per.
Yeah, I mean, everything's a vaulted ceiling to Brad. You know what I mean? I'm hitting my head on the ceiling fans that go by. Everything is spacious. It's all bigger.
Right.
It's a bigger place. Somebody brought up. I can't remember who. So you can get back. No, go. Let me finish the top, please. Thank you.
Started a
and then you can
trend.
do that. I was going to try that.
Gouging.
Dwarf gouging.
Oh my
That's
God.
brutal.
I'll do the top, and then we can scroll through. Somebody said jewelry. And I was like,
Why jewelry?
Sparkles brighter.
well,
More diamond per
Yeah. Per square inch.
square.
just a little pendant would look like a big medallion or like a engagement. A small wedding band look like a Super Bowl ring.
That's
Yeah,
true.
why? That's why. All right. Now, so we got jewelry, and then somebody brought up those mini bottles of tequila or vodka.
Oh,
We used to call
yeah.
them travelers, but I think they call them shooters.
That he should
No.
be charged more for those.
Yes. Yes.
So I'm getting it.
You're
I'm getting
catching
it.
on, right?
Yeah.
More for that, because that's like, that's like a
he'll
pint.
get
for,
he could get drunk off that.
Well, they would say Andre the Giant could drink like 131 beers, you know what I mean? And like
Right.
7 bottles of wine. All right, he's Andre the Giant.
Yeah.
So what's Andre the Giant going to do with one of those?
Yeah. No.
So let's just keep
He's
doing
doing it.
the math. Mm-hmm. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All right. So let's scroll down here. Let's see.
Lap dances, it's more of a leg dance for them.
Bathtub somebody has on there.
Yeah.
It is true. A bathtub becomes a jacuzzi.
Yeah, every seat is like first class.
Yeah.
Yeah, I brought that up, and then somebody said, yeah, but they weigh so much less that in a way they should be getting it back. You know what I mean? I mean, back to my
Yeah.
original thought. He's not weighing as much as a big dude. All right, so we've covered that.
What about a gym membership? Because he probably can't use all the equipment.
That's good.
Right?
Gym
He should
membership.
get less.
It's not going to use that chin-up bar.
Yeah.
That's right. Let's see. They should get into their fare for free. Not tall enough for 75% of the rides. Oh, we're talking about amusement parks? They should get... Oh, the fare. Sorry. They should get into the fare. Yeah, I was kind of thinking about that. Like, if you weren't tall enough to ride half the rides at Disneyland, then you wouldn't be in line at the Matterhorn or
Right.
Space Mountain or whatever. I was thinking about that as well.
They should pay less for their geese.
Less for their geese.
I had a training partner who was a dwarf.
Well, yeah, but
I would let him
but-
choke me.
He would?
And stand up and walk around and like let him get into full jujitsu squeeze on my neck. Pretty good training partner.
Now we're getting into kids' geese.
Yeah, well,
They don't
Yeah.
make dwarf
Yeah.
geese. They make
I think
kids.
they do. It's different. Like they're shaped different than a kid, bud.
Well, that's true, but I'm going to go on a limb and say they don't make dwarf geese. I'll bet they make geese for 9-year-olds or small geese or junior geese or
Yeah, I
something.
think it's,
What's it? What is that?
42A. Oh, a jiu-jitsu jacket, like a judo uniform.
Oh, okay.
It's a very specific, a wrestling gi.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, have you run this by him? Have you asked him?
I ran the car wash notion
Okay.
by him. He agreed.
Okay.
Which was mixed with the massage. The massage is a little flawed in that you're still going to get 50 minutes. So they just go up and
Right.
down you 5 times versus
Yeah.
3 times. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
it's not
But I
really
like
a
the
difference.
thought of him getting a break.
Yeah.
And that's the jumping off point. They don't make geese for dwarfs, everybody.
Oh, thanks for telling me.
But I already knew that. But they make small geese because every kid gets into it at age 6, and they got to get a new gi every year, right?
Right. What about bungee jumping? Because if you should
All
have
right.
to pay more because he would go farther up. When he jumped.
Well, you don't jump up. I mean, I think you go down.
Oh, you go. I thought you went up and then down.
On the bungee?
And then
Yeah. Well, I
up
thought you
again.
start up and then I thought you kind of like swing.
Well,
swing.
No,
and
you
then,
No,
jump
you bounce.
off a bridge.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you jump. Isn't it called bungee because it goes up too?
It springs, it pulls you up.
Yeah. So
And-
he'd go farther up.
Well, he might but he wouldn't stretch it as far on the way down.
Oh,
Yeah,
this
it's the
is
opposite.
now we don't know.
I don't know that. No,
You should
I don't
pay less,
know that
maybe.
it would be the
less wear and tear.
opposite. But I'm just saying, like a 200-pound guy would stretch it further
Yep.
and then spring up further.
Yeah, he should pay kid rates if there is such a
I
thing
see.
for bungee
But
jumping.
100-pounder
Yeah, again, the
would
kid
stretch
thing.
it less, but lighter on the way back up.
Now, what about something like property-wise, like a fence? Does he pay less for the fence because he needs
because
less
it's higher.
fence?
Happens.
Well, probably.
but-
See,
it
but
evens out because
that's
he
a
doesn't
problem.
get as high of
That's
a
a-
fence. Doesn't need as high.
There's
of a
other
fence.
people who could totally get in his fence.
Does he have a dwarf dog?
That's a good question.
I'm going to say no because the fence is to keep able-bodied black or any color person, I should say, out. It's not to keep you in, but I get where your head's at. So we have to kind of
Get
figure.
where your head's at.
We have to kind of. Well, this is why you have to talk it through. I mean, Mike and
Yeah.
I,
you're right.
we were in a rental car for 5 hours, and Mike's going, well, what about yarmulkes? And I'm like, no. But he had a few that we had to hear him out. Like there are
Right.
things that are weird, like dental fillings. No.
No.
He thought he was onto something with belts. I told him kids' belts. He told me
No.
kids don't wear belts. It's a stupid
There's
Mike
a lot
argument.
of
I
overlap
said,
with the kid thing. It's
Yeah,
a little
you gotta-
complicated. With
you got to be careful with the kid thing because
Yeah.
it gets into shoes and belts and clothes
But
and
he doesn't
stuff
want
like that.
He also doesn't want to
Geese.
be treated like a kid, so you can't be like, you're going to get the kid discount. Like you don't want that.
I'm
don't want it to be
assuming
called a kid
I'm assuming you just have a size 4 shoe.
Yeah.
And then you just go online and you just buy size 4 Nikes. Like that's where we're at now. Now, back in the old dwarf days with Snow White and Sneezy and everybody, they had to go into the Sears kids department. Like, you had to go in there.
Right.
Right?
But do you think he gets a discount at, say, a museum? Because museums have kid rates and senior rates, but would they have rates for him at a museum?
If he was a veteran.
So no.
Yeah, again, it can't all just be kids, seniors,
but I
or
think
like veterans.
He should get a discount at a museum because he has to look up higher at the paintings. Right? That's annoying.
No, I don't think that.
That doesn't count when you have to look up and then people are blocking your way. Have you seen a Van Gogh lately? People will just stand in front of the Van Gogh.
Oh, and you're just staring at assholes.
Yeah, you can't even see. So he has to wait for everybody to leave.
At this point, I would give anybody a discount who couldn't jump up and desecrate a poster or a painting in the name of ecology or the earth or, global warming. If you're either in a wheelchair, over 80 or under 5 foot tall, and I'd be like, you can't throw paint on the Mona Lisa or super glue yourself to Renoir, like, then fine. I'm going to give you all a break. Anyone who can't fuck up this museum, I'll give you a break.
That's what I think is fair. Yeah.
Yes. All right.
Okay.
Dawson?
All right.
You should certainly pay less for concert tickets.
Concert tickets, yeah, because you can't
you
block
can't
anyone's
see.
view. You can't see. But if I was going to go see, like when I took Brad to Lilith Fair that time, he was on my shoulders the entire goddamn time. So the thing about being a dwarf at a concert, you either get a horrible view, or the best fucking view in the house because you're the only dude on another dude's
I was
shoulder.
imagining taking him to Slayer and like picking him up, body locking him, throw him in the mosh pit, and everybody rolling him around.
We did that too.
Cool.
We did that too.
Different night, of course. Lilith Fair was awesome.
Gosh.
We found a clip of a dwarf bungee jumping.
Oh, good. This is what I really wanted to see what this looked like.
Sick.
It's a dwarf.
Oh my God.
But we're not going to.
It looks so fun.
We're not going to be able to compare the bounce back.
Oh, I think he doesn't bounce.
That was adorable.
He doesn't stretch it as far.
Oh my God, it looks fun though for him. Look how much he's waving
You never
around.
done that? You never done bungee jumping?
No,
I've never
I'm
done it.
scared.
You've done it?
Oh yeah, I've done it many times. One time
It looks really violent to me.
It is pretty violent.
Right?
I crawled
I
up
don't like
underneath
that.
a bridge in the Snake River Canyon, and then
Snake
we
River
jumped out
Canyon?
there. Yeah.
Wow, he looks like he's having
Pretty
the time
awesome,
of
I
his
gotta tell
life.
you.
This guy.
He was.
So
Look at
basically, with the dwarf,
It's even more fun.
He's amped and more adrenaline per
All
square
right,
inch.
so you pay more.
no, I don't.
Right?
You get to fly. You get to fly.
I think. No, because a heavy guy stretches it further and springs
you're right.
back further.
All right. Well, then have him hold a watermelon on the way down.
I don't know if you caught the ethnicity of the dwarf, but I don't feel like a watermelon would be appropriate. Perhaps
This
a
is
cassava.
so inappropriate. After 10 minutes of dwarf jokes, you're like, we went a little
I
far
draw the
with
line
the race
at the
thing.
African American dwarf with a watermelon. All right, a sandbag, anything but a watermelon.
I thought they were in London. That's African English. I mean, something.
Jackass is a clip of a dwarf and a fat guy tethered together.
Yeah.
Bungee jumping.
Oh my God.
Oh, we
Is
gotta
it more
watch
fun?
that.
Maybe he goes up higher then.
There's a
When I
dwarf.
come up with my ideas, I don't write them down. I just draw a picture and fax it to
Draw.
He just drew a picture of doing this?
Nah, yeah.
A picture of a fat ass and a little guy.
Oh my God, you can find everything now. Wee man.
Jason, how do you compare this kind of athleticism to what you guys do?
You guys are a hell of a lot more athletic than us, and
Oh, Jason Taylor,
crazier too.
who I did Dancing with the Stars with.
You did?
Yeah.
Was that what the guy?
Jason Taylor's was a defensive end for Miami.
Oh, wow.
For the Dolphins. All right, so how are they doing this, though? I don't get
I
it.
think
Wait,
it's,
he's going to
he's
go.
going first.
No, he's not going first.
That's
He's
not that high.
anchoring.
It doesn't look that high.
Yeah, only the fat guys.
What?
You had to know they were going. You had to know. It's Jackass.
That was just jumping in the water.
Yeah, but you know, they put some pizzazz on it.
I don't think we've proven anyone's point in this one. But that being said,
It looks fun.
there must be an optimal weight
That was so dumb.
for bungee jumping. Because 700-pound guy is going to stretch it far,
Snap.
but his bounce back's going to be limited because he's 700 pounds.
No. Well, yeah.
I bet
it
you-
depends. If they're going to
doesn't-
bounce you that far, if they're going to rate you for 700 pounds, then because I hung out with the stuntmen that do this, and that they had the bands tailored to how it's not one band, it's like a bunch of them in a whole connector.
Yeah.
And so if you're heavier, they give it, and if you're lighter, they give you a funner ride. They're like less of those.
But
bands.
you're not allowed to bungee jump if you're like 300 pounds, right?
I would
No,
say
no.
they put a ceiling on that.
Like 200.
Well, what I mean is
250 maybe.
it's a bunch of different bands. So I don't know. They could tailor it. Why, you got a 300-pound friend? Is your mom want to go bungee jumping?
That would be something, and she would not engage in that. But I'm glad you did it, Dawson.
Yeah, I went bungee jumping once, but I think
did.
Brad Williams should pay more money for sod.
Sod.
What's
Yeah.
that?
What are geese? What's sod? I don't know.
You're getting an education
What's
today.
stuff?
He gets,
I've been
square footage
underground.
wise, he gets a lot more lawn
Yeah. He's on a golf course.
because
These
he's a
are
little
man
guy.
things. I'm not supposed to know what these are.
Yeah, you know.
Sod.
She's a dainty lady.
Yeah.
More for sod because, like, a Pop Warner Field is like a full-size
Stadium.
NFL
It's a stadium
stadium
to
to
him,
him, right?
I have a good one.
More for sod.
Mini golf, he should pay.
It's like regular
he's doing golf.
Yeah.
He's paying the clubhouse
Right?
dues.
He should pay.
That's good, miniature golf. But I would also argue he should get a caddy and
Yes.
a golf cart.
Yeah, he should do the whole thing.
He should go full-size golf on miniature golf. Like
Yes.
his caddy
He should
comes
get it
pulling
all.
up. That
He
gets
should get
out,
all the perks.
He gets down on one knee and they start talking about in front of the windmill at the end, like what club to use.
Sprinkles the grass.
They'll sprinkle the grass just where the wind is blowing.
Yeah.
Yeah, miniature golf. There you go.
Yeah.
All right, you're back.
Yeah. Phew. Woo, that was a close one.
I was looking at there's this commercial that keeps running, and it's like anime for some pharmaceutical company out of Sweden or something, and I can't make out what it is. Like, it's weird. It's a little erotic. It's for Vanda Pharmaceuticals, and they do stuff for, I don't know, schizophrenia and other stuff. They keep running the same ad. I've seen it for the last 6 months. It's weird anime. It's a chick that looks a lot like you.
Wait,
Now I want to see.
Yeah.
you're saying this is an ad for what?
For
Pharmaceuticals.
For pharmaceuticals.
Pharmaceutical.
And,
Oh, okay,
I haven't
okay.
seen this
We
at all.
turn their sound.
Wow, this is fancy.
Oh,
Oh, yeah,
wow.
it does look kind of like me.
Anime.
Did you get that outfit?
Ponvory is approved for the treatment of relapsing forms of multiple sclerosis in adults.
Oh, that's what my dad had.
Ponvory lowers the number of white blood cells, lymphocytes, in your blood. Usually,
I don't think this
will
is it.
return to
This
normal
is
within
one of
1
them.
to 2 weeks of stopping treatment.
It's never the one I
Ponvory
want,
can
Dawson.
increase your risk of
Nah, but
serious
now we're getting
one
the
of them.
lore. We're getting the backstory
Yeah.
of this anime girl in a red
Ponvory
suit.
can cause your heart rate to slow
That
down.
is such a
especially
odd-
after you take
Climbing
the
up
first
out of
dose.
psoriasis?
Take
What is
Ponvory
it?
if in the
This
last
voiceover is too
month
good at
you
English.
have
Sclerosis.
unstable
Yeah.
angina, stroke, or other severe heart conditions, including
It's
certain
an
types
anime.
of
It like has nothing to do with the
Wait,
ad.
so blonde.
So ChatGPT made this girl or made the drug?
and high blood pressure. Starting treatment.
I don't know. She's
Oh,
going
you
to
think
fire.
you think this is AI?
Ask your
She's
doctor
gonna
about
fire up
Ponvory
the
or
Eiffel
visit
Tower.
ponvory.com.
What does this have anything to do with MS? Like, it's not showing anyone.
Well, your dad had MS.
Yeah,
But
he was in a wheelchair.
But remember when the power went out for the city and they said, Herb, climb up to the top and throw the master switch so we can read at night. Is that?
Yeah, that happens.
That happened, right?
Yeah, that usually happens when you have
I haven't
MS.
developed a lot of C's, but I don't think there's one master breaker that's on the top of a tower that takes the whole city down. I don't even know how I got tripped, but find the one I want,
I
which
think
is not this
that
one.
must be AI, right?
Nah, I mean,
oh,
that's
really?
just animation. Yeah, I'm just making a joke because everything's AI now.
But who pitched that? Who was like, I know what we're going to do?
Well, they also do one for skits. I don't know.
get it, though, because-
Andrew, you saw it, so find me the other one. They
schizophrenia?
do one for schizophrenia.
I
one.
haven't seen these ads. It's
Yeah.
weird.
It's always the one I don't want, but that'll do. It's because the same company and the same animation, and
It just has nothing
the chick,
to do with
oh, this
it.
chick looks like you
Oh,
too.
yeah. Everyone. They're stealing my identity.
Fanapt alloperidol is approved for adults with bipolar 1 disorder with acute mixed or manic episodes. Unlike some drugs for bipolar 1 disorder,
bipolar
nausea,
looks
vomiting,
so
and restlessness are not
whimsical.
common with Fanapt.
Hold on, you pause it for a
Fanapt
second.
may be associated.
I don't know what the rules are for animation, but here in the States, you got to stuff a couple black people in your commercial, right? Like this is.
Well, this is Sweden, you said?
I think it's Swedish. It's called Vanda Pharmaceuticals. It must all be out of Sweden, and they just started pumping
We'll do it in post. We'll do it in post.
Yeah.
Just fix
Here,
it.
there's no diversity in this. It's just blonde, other blonde, and blonder.
Yeah, but using
she kinda looks like you, too.
Japanese anime.
Anime. All right, we'll
Yeah.
keep playing it. Sorry.
Vomiting and restlessness are not common with Fanapt. Fanapt may be associated with serious side effects.
Like her parents or
Elderly
something.
patients with dementia-related psychosis treated with antipsychotics are at increased risk of stroke or
I
death.
have those shoes too.
All right, it's working. I want some of
Fanapt
this
is
drug.
not
I gotta
approved
tell
for
you.
elderly with dementia-related psychosis. Fanapt prolongs the QT interval
She
and may
waved
be
at a black
associated
person.
with abnormal
Ah, she had
heart rhythm or
dark
sudden
hair. I
death.
don't know if she was
In
black.
5%
was
or more
black.
of people in clinical trials,
Chick's
heart
pretty
rate
hot,
increases,
though.
distance, hypertension, weight gain, dry mouth,
blonde guy
stuffy
come pick
nose,
me up.
Why did she put her
sleepiness,
arm
and
up?
increases in
She's
liver
scared.
enzymes have been observed. These are not all the side effects. Talk to your prescriber and learn more at fanapt.com. By Vanda Pharmaceuticals.
All right, we've entered into a new, weird, dangerous Orwellian world. I don't even know
Yeah.
what's going on anymore. I watched The View the other day because when you travel, you watch TV shows you've never seen before because you're completely off your grid. You can't have the shows you've saved. There's no Netflix. Like you just
Yeah, you just
plop
put it
down in
on.
the room, you turn the TV on, and whatever's on, that's all you got, bitch.
Yeah.
And I watched The View. But I study The View like a commander up on a bluff looking down at the enemy. You know what I mean? Like I want to see what they do. When do they eat?
got you by
when do they
sight, whoopee.
sleep? Yeah. By God, Rommel, I read your book. That's not a bad George C. Scott there.
Nope.
So who is a guest? They usually have a guest, right?
It's always it was
A polit.
well, no, it was what's her name, Washington,
Kerry Washington?
Kerry Washington and her husband who are in some sort of action movie and whatever. Who cared? Blacktivist stuff and talking about this show.
Oh my God.
But whatever. Just she's fucking. These people are all activists now. But anyway,
Yeah.
or agitators or whatever. But they went to commercial break. It's like 11 in the morning on a Friday.
Mm-hmm.
It's all pharmaceuticals. Everything is a pharmaceutical now. It's
God.
all fucking pharmaceuticals. Like everybody is just completely beaked up on pharmaceuticals.
Wow.
This Vanda company does multiple sclerosis stuff and what the other
and
one?
bipolar?
And bipolar. Like
Which
they
have
just do everything.
nothing to do with each other either.
Yeah,
No.
One's neurological, one is,
So your
mental.
dad never leapt up from his wheelchair and yelled, "The town is in darkness, and somebody's got to stop this now."
No,
and
I-
bound to a tower.
I
and
don't
push
recall
through a
that being
door?
one of the
But you don't know
symptoms.
for sure.
No, I don't know for sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah, one time he did pretend that he could spy on us from his computer at work. That would be the closest to like being a spy.
All right, so
being in a
that's
spy
fine.
movie.
Yeah.
You know?
They're both super slender blondes
I know.
who are
Very Swedish looking.
going about
marketing.
their business.
And it has nothing to do with, I think they're almost like I think it's more hypnotic. Like they're trying to hypnotize you into being like, I think I need this. You know, it's not literal.
I think you were on to something in the beginning when you said that anime is kind of taking over. People want to be furry animals. People want to be cartoon characters.
Yeah, that's true.
People identify with
hold on.
this person.
Oh, that's
Listen, I think
creepy.
she worked at what looked like a little base. Little shop.
Little boulangerie.
I thought it made beignets in there.
Oh, yeah, you're right. But that being said,
Yeah.
shouldn't Brad Williams have to pay more for pastry? That being said, I mean, apropos of nothing, a pastry, see, that's a birthday cake. You know, one Danish
Right.
is a frisbee of Danish to him.
That's true. And they're all too big anyway.
A bear claw to him. I mean,
I'm not even going to get into donuts because that's
Yeah.
danger
There are
territory.
burritos in this world that are larger than Brad.
No, he's right.
and pastries.
All right. So are those the only two those the only two I've ever seen, and I still can't figure out what they're plugging or selling, but I'm in. I'd like some.
It was a medication for bipolar 1, I believe they said at the top.
Look, if it works, man, I help a lot of people make as much
there was a part
really
in it
weird.
when she sees a well-adjusted couple enjoying themselves, and she's like, "Okay, that's what I could be."
Oh,
and then
I didn't
at
even
some
read
point,
into that.
It's almost a trigger. Too.
her Ken doll boyfriend walks up on her, and she goes, "Huh," and then she goes, because she's like, "I'm bipolar, but I took my medication."
Yeah.
So
I
watch
see.
it.
She
Tells
sees
the
this
story.
she sees the older couple like this could be my future,
Yeah.
kind of.
She sees that, but watch, her boyfriend walks up on her, and she goes like, "Oh shit," because she's bipolar, but then she reels it in. Watch.
Decreases, dizziness,
Huh?
hypertension, weight loss, sleepiness, ending.
Yeah. It's a meat cute.
We're in trouble.
But then what
We're
are
in
the
trouble.
what do the keys represent? The keys to happiness?
Yes.
Nah,
Keys to a stable.
Yeah. She
She just got the key to his apartment.
Yeah,
That's right.
He
So if
trusts
you
her
take this
because
by
people with
non-bipolar
have a
drug,
problem. Yeah.
But
you
I
will
don't
be
think
able to
this has
move in with your
anything to-
boyfriend.
I don't think it has anything to do with bipolar, like the whole ad.
No, but it does. If you know people with bipolar, like this ad makes a lot of sense to me. I see it. Yeah.
I do know people with bipolar, but it's not. These aren't the issues they have.
What?
What?
Are they living in Sweden?
No, they either have manic episodes where they get really heightened feelings, or they feel really depressed and can't get out of bed. But this is just like, am I scared of my boyfriend? Oh no, I'm not, and that's the whole story.
The end. Well, she goes into
boring.
work. She sees a nice couple. That could be her and her boyfriend if she stays on this medication.
That's what I mean. Like if she's stable, if she stays stable, she gets all these good things.
Right.
And
And then
now she got this happy
Well,
ending.
also it's clearly trying to appeal to women, because they're both the leads are women. It's sort of soft, kind of soothing colors.
You're right.
It's very feminine. It's very relationship oriented. So I think they're aiming this at women, not men. Men aren't like, I need the drug. It's a woman being like, oh, I feel depressed. Maybe I need that.
I don't know. I mean, we can look it up. I tend to think more women. All right, here's what I know about women. They believe things can affect them more than maybe I believe things can affect them. Like I've talked to women, they're like, you got to throw away that aluminum water container, and I go, why not? Because it gets bacteria in there or whatever. And I go, it's fine. I read bacteria, so I'll clean it out. Yeah, even if you clean it, the article I read said that the bacteria, and then they go and like COVID. Every woman I know just dove headlong into COVID. Like, don't touch the box, put the glove.
Oh, yeah.
My daughter wanted me to send her a picture of me wearing gloves in the supermarket.
Oh, my God.
And my son gave 2.5 shits what I was doing.
Right.
And my daughter was like constantly like, if you're on the road and you're coming back from and you're in the airport, you need to take your shoes off. So I'm just going to say, from my observations, and I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing. It's probably like, women are better moms. They're tuned in a little more. Guys are a little detuned, but they are a little more worried about talking on your phone in the bathroom than, let's say, the dudes are. I have none of that. I don't believe in any of it. I think it's all bad for you. I think the pharmaceutical shit's bad for you. I think Purell's bad for you. I think fucking soap's bad for you.
I think Purell's bad for you, too,
everything is bad for you, and I don't touch any of it.
Yeah.
Antibiotics are bad for you. Everything is bad for you. But except for dirt and meat and just stuff.
Yeah.
But
I think meat's bad for you.
Women are more... They're more finely tuned. And I talk to women all the time who go like, I'll eat, red meat, and then I'll start to feel tired, or I'll have chocolate, and then I'll catch a buzz off the chocolate. And I'll go, I don't even know what the fuck you're talking about. I wouldn't even know what I ate or how I feel or whatever. But so it's.
I do know men who are sensitive though.
This is a good point.
I drive my body like a car.
I will continue in that. It's a higher percentage of women.
Yeah,
I'm not saying. I know tons of pussies. Don't get me wrong. Fucking Hollywood is lousy with fucking pussy dudes who tell you how everything makes them feel.
Exactly.
Look for bracelets, and you'll probably get some answers. But it would strike me that women would be the target for this stuff because dudes have a little more like, I need to get laid and kind of shake this off, or I need to get out and fucking get in a fight, or I need to go to the track and win a few. I need to get a little lucky or something. Like, I'm going to shake this off. Women's much more like, ingest this. This is how I feel. This is why I'm feeling this way.
Yeah.
So it does strike me that they probably use women on this stuff. But then the question is women, let's just say...
Also, more women are diagnosed, I think, with both of those things.
Yeah, right.
Bipolar and MS.
Oh, really? More MS?
Yeah, more women have MS.
So, let's say Americans under the age of 40. What percent of males versus females are on some sort of pharmacological... I'm not talking about stuff for skin rashes, but I mean sort of psychopharma stuff. Stuff that's...
Do you think like all of the U.S. or are you talking about certain like cities or?
I'm talking about just Des Moines.
not as many as L.A.
Whatever the capital of Iowa is. Yeah.
What percentage of women versus men? No.
Americans.
Okay. I'm guessing
men versus women
65%.
Under age of 40.
65%.
Yeah, I'm gonna say America loves drugs.
65%.
It's like 80%.
Not that many.
I mean, of adults, like regular adults.
Wait,
are you on everybody now?
Everybody has like a bit
all right, well,
of
hold on.
some
Let me
kind
break
of something
this.
going on.
Maybe I'll take a break and we'll get it straight.
Are you talking about Des Moines
okay,
for
here
real?
we go. No.
Okay.
I'm going to say this again. I'll go slow. United States, men versus women.
My
yeah.
mistake.
Well,
that's the part we missed.
Yeah. Well, you missed the 5 minutes into the survey, I guess. All right. It's a theme.
We both have ADHD.
Okay. Men versus women. Sorry. In the United States, men versus women under the age of 40, pharmacological drugs. All right.
Okay. I'm gonna make a guess. Can we make guesses?
Oh, yeah. We have data.
You can make a guess. Go ahead.
Okay, 65% of women and 30% of men.
Yeah.
But wouldn't it be 65, 35? I mean, I know.
30 and 65.
30 and 65. But that's a grand total of 95.
No, you're saying...
You were saying men versus women.
We're saying what percentage of the American population
I'm
does
sorry.
drugs?
I'm sorry. Of people that are on the pharmaceuticals, not the entire nation. You have to be on the pharmaceuticals.
There's
what
definitely
percentage?
more women, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Now we're getting somewhere. So what percentage of women...
Oh, okay.
Versus
men.
I'm doing a women versus men thing.
Oh, okay. You mean, I think it's 30% more women than men are on pharmaceuticals.
30% more.
Yeah, 30% more.
So
that's what we're doing.
So
30% more.
66-33.
Yeah.
66-33.
Yes.
All right, Mayhem, what do you got?
That's what I would do.
Oh, yeah. I'm going 80 still. Like, I think it's like mostly women that take this because they're more prone to treat
80 to 20%.
Yeah, to treat themselves.
80-20.
Wow, it's big. It's a big difference.
Yeah, I was thinking more of a 60-40, 60, 66-33. I kind of had it at the 2/3 mark. Half somewhere between half and 2/3. Let's see, 18 to 44 age group, around 40% of men and 66% of women use prescription drugs. Well, yeah, but that's still just prescription, but I guess it'll shake out and be it's a higher percentage of women. So it would make
much higher
sense that The View would advertise stuff and that this company would use the blonde anime girl.
Yes.
All right, let's get that news queued up. We'll take a break, come back right after this. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Oh, man, we all know the song. It's stuck in our head, but it's kind of catchy. Oh, O'Reilly. I love myself some O'Reilly Auto Parts. Their people are friendly, they're helpful, they know about service, and they know about parts, and they're knowledgeable, and they can help you maintain your car and repair your car and keep your car on the road. I've always been an O'Reilly fan. I've always been a sort of self-wrencher. I'm not a full-blown mechanic, but I know my way around an engine bay, and O'Reilly's always helped me keep my cars on the road. They still do. So whether you're a car aficionado or an auto novice, you're going to find the employees at O'Reilly Auto Parts are knowledgeable, helpful, and best of all, friendly. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit us at O'ReillyAuto.com/Adam. That's O'ReillyAuto.com/Adam. Delete me. Makes it easy, quick, and safe to remove your personal data online at any time when surveillance and data breaches are common enough to make everyone vulnerable. And when I say everyone, I mean that includes you. It's easier than ever to find personal information about people online. Having your address, phone number, and family members' names hanging out on the internet can have actual consequences in the real world and makes everyone vulnerable. With Delete Me, you can protect your personal privacy or the privacy of your business from doxing attacks before sensitive information can be exploited. As someone with an active online presence, privacy is really important to me, and that's why I'm signing up with Delete Me, and you should too, right, Dawson?
Take control of your data and keep your private life private by signing up for Delete Me, now at a special discount for our listeners. Today, get 20% off your Delete Me plan by texting ACS to 64,000. The only way to get 20% off is to text ACS to 64,000. That's ACS to 64,000. Message and data rates may apply.
I feel like the men's interpretation of feminism now is just never helping us with anything. That's a feminist now. Like the number of times the tiniest woman helps me with my luggage on the plane, it's always the tiniest woman, like a woman like you, who's like, oh, I'm gonna join in and help her. And then we're both struggling and we're both like, you know, like trying to get it up, like, no, you've got it, okay, you've got that side, you've got, and then a strong man's like, they've got it. I'm a feminist. Don't want to offend them.
Erica Rhodes is on the Adam Carolla Show.
Erica's got dates all over. Very funny stand-up comedian. And you can just go to EricaRhodesComedy.com for all the live dates. I got my new vlog coming out. It is out as we speak on the whole burning and everything of Palisades and Malibu. And I got my buddy Glenn, the contractor's back up this week.
Oh, nice.
Handling the cleanup on PHS.
When do you move back?
PCH. I don't know. So, but you can check that out at AdamCarolla.com. We had a stat up there, Andrew, that you took down right before this, which was interesting. In general, higher percentage of women than men report taking psychiatric medications.
Yeah.
Specifically, one study found 21% of women report taking psychiatric drugs compared to 12% of men. So that is almost twice as many. So our theory
almost 50%.
is from
80-20.
Oh, wait, so almost...
Well, ours was like 30, yours was 80.
Yeah. Yeah,
so somewhere between.
Yeah, but almost twice as much. Yes. All right. What do we got, Mayhem?
All right, what we got is a couple of check-in desk agents got terminated from their gigs at Frontier Airlines for mocking a customer in a viral video.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mayday flight. You did. And you think you're gonna check me in? I bet you we won't.
She works there, by the way. If you're listening.
I paid for a ticket.
And
they're recording.
$5 for agent assistant, and you checked in 3 hours later. Hello.
I just said that I.
Gonna get on your flight.
Yeah, I just said that I would pay the $25.
And you thought you were gonna get on your flight. And you thought you was gonna get on your flight. And you thought you was gonna get on your flight. And you thought you was gonna get on your flight.
I literally paid for a ticket. I'm here 30 minutes. I'm here 30 minutes before my flight, and they're not letting me check in.
And you're not getting on your flight.
Why does everyone have their phone out?
And you will never fly.
You were about to let me check in. You were about to let me check in, and you decided that you ain't gonna let me check in.
Make me check you in.
You literally work for a company that I bought a plane ticket for. I'm here 30 minutes before the flight.
Can you please leave, sir?
No.
Can you please leave my personal space?
I'm not in your personal space. This is not your personal space.
This is my stationery.
This is not your personal space. You work for a company. This is not your personal space.
We ain't gotta worry about it.
You don't have to worry about it. You're literally not doing your job for a customer.
All right, let's pause for a second.
Oh my
Listen,
gosh.
there's a problem. I've been yelling about it at the airport the entire time. And it's going on. It's now at epidemic level. You take black people and then you explain to them, we don't like you and we don't want you here. And we just beat you over the head with the systemic racism message that is constantly peddled by every fucking race hustler on the left. Even Joe Biden never stopped with the black, the brown, the color. They're not. Every time he asks about Kamala Harris, like, we weren't ready for a black woman. So they have a race hustle and they poison these fucking people into thinking white folk are like the enemy, and especially black women. We tell black women, you're 2 strikes. You're a woman, you're black. We don't want you. We don't want you here. And then we put you in these positions where you have to interface with the people who you think don't like you or don't want you here, or if I was in charge, you guys wouldn't be here. And then we're asking you to be courteous, or accommodating or professional. And it ain't going to fucking happen. And it gets worse every fucking year. And the more we talk these people into thinking that we are only doing this because of the color of their skin, or they're not welcome, or they're not wanted, or systemic this, or whatever that, then this shit's going to happen just more and more and more. I've always experienced it because LAX is kind of the home of the black female TSA, and they're always rude, they're always shitty, and they're always curt, and they just fucking suck. But I realize I represent rich, white, heterosexual dude, and if I was I'm the oppressor. Like, if you're going to talk them into this guy's holding you back, well then, why be friendly? At all. So
I've had it, but I mean, not to be like everybody. I feel like everyone at airports now is just rude. Like, they're all rude.
But
not
she
this
would be
level.
Great at weighing in people.
She would be great at weighing people in that schedule.
And you thought you was gonna
Well, they did they kept escalating it, like with taking out their phones and everything. It's like,
the story says that the agent mentioned a $25 fee to check in with them in person, and then he balked at the fee and then started recording with that dork voice. I mean, I would give him attitude also with that. No. He was really like...
You're on the side of the guy?
Yeah, I mean, they're the girls. I'm like, look, I think this guy had an attitude with them initially, and then it escalated. Really, they messed up and lost their job because of it.
Oh, they lost their jobs?
Because it was like an ego thing, yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. They lost their
job. And a third party, they're a third party of Frontier Airlines. I don't know, they somehow hire people as a third party.
Frontier's also the worst, one of the worst.
Is it? Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Frontier is with
Spirit.
Yeah, with Spirit. And
yeah. All right, good, they're gone.
Okay.
But I'm just saying, you can't feed people a steady diet if everyone hates them and then expect them to go out and be courteous.
Dude,
That's
I
the
riz
problem.
those ladies up every time. They just get me right through. Oh, 51 pounds, no problem. Like, I don't know what your experience is.
They like you.
I don't look like the oppressor.
Well, we'll forget about my
I used to have white
Here we
privilege.
go to the next story.
Yeah.
Let's go. There we go. We'll get through this. I'm pissed at
New York City has erected a Times Square 12-foot tall black woman in casual clothing. Oh, my goodness.
Who's she?
She's nobody. She's just all heavyset black women.
Sassy.
She's just a statue?
Yep.
Weird.
That's the T-1000. He just blew himself up.
That is
She's just
weird.
put upon.
She's just a put-upon woman of color who's trying to get by in a white society.
Yep.
How
but
do you
it's
know
tough
she's a woman?
'cause-
I can't even tell if she's a woman, really. She might not be.
Yeah.
I don't want to assume.
First off,
them.
We ain't in the business
Yeah.
of building statues to men anymore.
Oh,
I think
right.
maybe
Okay.
George Floyd. Maybe George Floyd. But generally, I would say 100% of this. Here's what I would say. Between the founding of this country and 2022, I would say 98% of statues were of men.
Mm-hmm.
I would say from 2022 moving forward, it's going to be He's going to flip the script. I think it's going to be female statues.
But
also,
usually they're of somebody. Why is it just a random?
Because all black women are victims. All black women are heroes, or put upon, or unwanted, or they work for Spirit Airlines.
She's meant to be all. She represents all black women.
This is a way to keep poisoning the head of black women who then have to interface with us at the airport.
That's a statue of a woman who was just cut in front of in an ice cream store.
That's right. By the couple from the pharmaceutical commercial.
Sweden.
The Swedish couple just bumped this bitch in line because they thought they needed to get their froyo faster.
Ice cream. Brad Williams should pay more for ice cream.
He should pay more for ice cream. You're right.
Yep.
A single is a double.
Yep.
We pay more for a double. That's right. That's a good point. Yeah, more for ice cream. I'm writing that down.
We're all getting canceled from this episode.
Cancel me
This
again.
episode's the end of my career.
I love you, black women.
He should pay more for cotton candy too. I mean, that thing's as big as his head, you know? But that's a lot of cotton candy. Sorry. All right, so this is just a statue of like Queen Latifah's stepsister who's got her hands on her hips and she's tired of putting up with the white man's shit. Is basically what it is.
She's about to ask you a question.
She's going to ask something.
Oh my gosh.
So it's called something. It's got to be in your article somewhere.
I
doesn't
just
it?
got this, on the way in. And it's called,
He said it's in there.
man.
He's trying to
Grounded in the Stars.
Grounded in the Stars. That's what it is.
grounded in the stars.
Grounded in the Stars.
Oh boy.
She's grounded, but she's also in the stars. Now,
Okay.
So here's the thing, too. When everyone's a hero, then no one's a hero.
Yeah.
I'm saying that all the time. Just get back to famous people. It's good because it's impervious to being torn down because it wasn't a white general from the Civil War or anything like that. So smart
Right.
in terms of longevity, but
I just wish it was
just
like-
more retarded
No,
messaging.
but are the Ghostbusters going to be able to fight her? Or is that like...
she is going to be reanimated when they come around.
I wish she just looked at least like someone recognizable.
Or
you know,
somebody
like I just wish she looked cool. Like oh, I know who she is, even if it's not that person. It's like she doesn't look recognizable.
She's got a little 90s Queen Latifah.
Yeah,
That's true.
in her, I
Yeah,
would
maybe that's
say.
it. Yeah.
I've seen her at
But
the
yeah,
laundromat.
specifically the artist made it
want her
of
to
no
be.
one. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
kinda-
Right,
I
because
guess
now
it's
we
AI.
can't worship anybody.
Yeah.
We have to worship just the girl.
Yeah, but she's got Lululemon on. Oh, no, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, cute.
Mean.
All right, Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. I'm going to describe things because people are listening.
Yeah.
Yeah, Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
I'm a mean person,
We're
I guess.
getting back to the Ghostbusters reference. All right, but don't put that up there. Thanks.
Don't put that up.
Well, it doesn't work because we just go
Yeah, my bad.
but we don't know no one knows what we're talking
okay,
about.
they can't see it. Okay.
I have found in the medium of radio and or podcasting, people constantly, their number one thing is
What?
they'll go, I'll tell you what's ruining kids today? They hold up their phone and they go, this.
And no one can see
I go, no
it.
one knows what the fuck you're talking about. You have to say a phone. You have to say the phone, And they also do a lot of like guy walks by the window, hey, bro, but just into a microphone, They don't, stuff pops up. They just go, whoa, whoa, whoa. But they never say anything because there's something about the human brain that can't wrap its mind around the audio part. I'm talking about professors and scholars and authors. They hold their phone up and they go,
see here.
This is the problem. You understand? The phone? Yes. Yeah. Say the phone.
Yeah, say what
and they
you're
always
holding.
They know what they do all the time too. They go, this guy walk down the streets, kid on a zipper scooter, misses me by this much. This much. I go, just say 6 inches. Say 6 inches, because it's bad. And I don't know,
it seems so simple.
But nobody
to
knows.
think of that.
Nobody knows it. No one can do it.
Wow.
I do not blame Mayhem. It does not. They can't do it.
I'm noted, bud. I'm back locked in for next time.
I thought you show your viewers what we're looking at.
It'll be on the internet. Yeah, it'll be on there. But for those who are hiking right now,
got it. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. It's good. But listen, even the great Dr. Drew could never do it. Every time someone handed him a coffee mug, he'd be like, I'd be talking. Mm-hmm. I'd be talking on Love Line, and I'd be going, here's the problem with these kids. They're all full of themselves. And someone hand a coffee, thank you. And I'd go, Drew, just don't say thank you, or say thank you for the coffee that I'm now being handed.
Yeah.
But just don't say thank you in the middle of me talking. It sounds weird.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
That was pure radio.
Yeah, I grew up doing radio, so I think I have the instinct that
you do.
Yeah, that you know.
Oh, you're in Prairie Home Companion.
Yeah. So, and he had a sound of,
Garrison Keillor.
Yeah.
Weirdest, there's Me Tooers. There's the Me Too movement, right?
Yeah.
And then there's like the canceled movement, right?
Right.
And then there's the top of the food chain, your Harvey Weinsteins and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And Cosby, and I go, okay, I got a pretty good idea what those guys were up to.
Yeah.
And then there's guys like Garrison Keillor, and I'm like, I don't know what it is they said he did. He put his arm around a girl that there's a guy who used to run Pixar. Mm-hmm. The guy ran Pixar, and it's like, what'd he do? And it's like, well, he liked trains, and he ran Pixar, and he at the Christmas party, he would be flirty with some of the, and I'm like, it doesn't sound like that much to me. What are we talking?
Yeah.
You had a few drinks at the Christmas party? You fired him from Pixar?
I think some people got swept up in
John Lasseter, sorry. That's the name. Yeah.
I think with Garrison, he just got swept up in some disgruntled employees just kind of found a way to get to him, so.
But then there was Charlie Rose.
His was bigger, wasn't it?
Well,
I don't know what it was.
He would evidently answered the door like his apartment or hotel nude or something. There was some.
But was he getting room service or was
what's the problem here?
Was there a woman there?
That's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is with Garrison Keillor and Charlie Rose and John Lasseter, did you guys do something? You commit a crime, or you just got drunk at a Christmas party, or you took a picture with your arm around somebody? What? Did you make a joke? John Lasseter, who was responsible for $10 billion worth of Pixar movies.
Oh my gosh.
He was the head of Pixar, kissing, making comments about physical attributes. I don't know. You go, that's a nice dress, Marcia. It looks good on you. You know what I mean?
Oh my God, he got canceled for that.
Again,
fired.
The whole problem is everyone had their panties in such a bunch. They were like, I just don't.
No one wanted to fight
said,
for
get
them.
rid of him.
Yeah.
Get rid of him.
Yeah.
Garrison Keillor is the Prairie Home Companion, the least eligible for this.
I'm not familiar with that material.
Engaged in dozens of sexually inappropriate incidents.
but it's too vague.
But what is the incidents? Squeezing someone when you're taking a picture or something? I don't. All right.
No,
anyway.
I mean I know more about it, but it was more about disgruntled employees trying to.
They didn't like him.
Well, yeah, or somebody got fired, and then it turned into something. They were seeking revenge from being fired.
Oh, you think that's what it was?
Well,
you were there.
He's my uncle. He's married to my aunt.
Oh.
So he's in my family, and so I know a lot more about everything about the story. But he was already retired, and there was an employee that he worked with that he gave a lot of work to, and she wrote for the show, and then somebody else got fired and kind of recruited her to get upset. Anyway, I'm saying too much, but yeah, it wasn't really really fair.
The dynamics
it wasn't
of personhood.
fair. Yeah.
You people are hurting your own cause by cooking up bullshit stories. It makes me dubious every time a story comes up now. I'm like, did something really happen, or are you liars just bullshitting more, which hurts your cause?
Yeah.
It's like almost every race-related, noose hanging on a dorm room. It's all made up now. Like it's all hoaxes now. It's
really
hurting
weird
your cause.
when people are already like Garrison was already retired.
Yeah.
So what's the point of canceling someone who's already retired? Like
I didn't know he'd already retired.
Yeah, he had retired, but then they changed the name and like kind of took over the show, and then he had trouble, and then he kind of lost the rights at first to his show.
Prairie Home Companion.
Yeah, but now he got it back somehow. I don't know. He hasn't really told me everything that went down, but then he still has trouble publishing books a little bit. Like
sure, because you get kind of the stink of the Me Too. People are like, I don't think we should be working.
But he's still I mean, he's still working. He
I
does
played
live
his
shows.
theater in
Fitzgerald.
Yeah,
in Minnesota.
Yeah,
that's cool. I'm doing his show in June at Tanglewood. He's doing like a full,
with him.
Yeah,
I don't know where Tanglewood is.
It's in the Berkshires. It's like the big outdoor venue.
But that's something with him or something.
With him.
Connected with.
Yeah, he's doing his show again. He's been doing 50th anniversaries for like the whole year.
Garrison's back.
Yeah, he's been back. Yeah, he just doesn't really he doesn't do the radio show, but he does live shows. But yeah,
Charlie Rose included lewd phone calls.
That's
bless his heart.
Lewd. He's lonely.
He's lonely.
He caller one.
Groping females, but we still don't. We know. I know that's wide open now. And walking naked around his apartment, which he often used for business.
Well, that's a little.
But what? Wait, hold on.
That's a little bit vague.
He sounds like a swinging guy.
Well. Walking around nude in his apartment, which he often used for business, doesn't mean you're nude during the business meeting. It means you are nude in your apartment because you live in your fucking apartment, and then you could have a meeting there later.
And also, how big is his? I'm sure his apartment's huge. So what if he's naked in one room and he has an intern in a different room?
Yeah,
right?
He comes out and gets a slice of pizza.
That's fine.
He was nude in the place they have the businesses. Oh, I do business here, and twice a day I'll go into that little bathroom and whip my cock out. Yeah, but while people are doing business, I pull my cock out. While people are doing business, it's crazy, right? Man, I've said too much. Sometimes even 3 times if I drink too much coffee.
Oh my God, I feel very unsafe right now.
Do you feel threatened now? Jesus Christ. All right, let's do, what else we got?
One more. Let's go. Critics say Trump's baby bonus proposal won't address the real problems. Democrats question whether the proposals, including a one-time $5,000 payment for having a baby, would have a substantial impact on financial challenges of parenthood.
Well, listen, here's all you need to know about life. When you walk around the streets of Los Angeles, it's a mess and it's a shit show and there's garbage everywhere. So let's just break this down. There is trash, garbage, old furniture, and everything everywhere because it's a shit show. Everything, every used thing, whether it's a cup or a condom, is just old recliner chair, bookshelves, whatever. It's all on the ground. Mm-hmm. You will never find an aluminum can.
Nope.
Every Coke, every Pepsi, every Coors Light, every Miller Lite, every energy drink, every fucking fortified whatever bullshit drink the hobos sucking down, whatever 5% alcohol, every single thing that people drink outside, especially street people or anybody, you'll never see one can on the ground. When's the last time you saw a Coke can just sitting on the street? When you see broken glass, you see old mattresses, you see busted up stucco and drywall, you see everything. Everything but an aluminum can, and everything that comes in an aluminum can is everything, and there's nothing.
Yeah.
Why?
Can man.
Why is there no
Somebody
aluminum?
picks. Why do you think?
He comes
for,
by.
For heroin?
Yeah, they'll get heroin.
All right,
yeah.
I'll give you 3 answers. Let's go 3.
Well, I don't know
For
how do you
heroin.
I thought maybe you could make a bong out of it or something.
Oh, you could.
Right?
You could.
Yeah.
You could make a heroin bong out of an aluminum can.
I've
You
never
could.
lived on the street, okay?
I know, but you've never seen a can on the street. So what? Why?
Because they're worth something when you trade them in?
Yeah, they're worth. They have
That
value.
was my first guess, and then I second
Heroin
guessed it
bong.
with the heroin
It could be heroin bong. Show me
picturing a
heroin bong.
I was picturing a heroin spoon,
Yeah, you're cooking.
I think the spoon's made out of aluminum. All right,
It's
I'll
like
stop
you
talking.
and Garrison hanging around, cooking up speed. All right. It has value.
Right.
So it gets collected.
Okay.
They may fall on the ground, but they don't stay on the ground long. Somebody's shopping cart, right up, right?
Right.
So if you incentivize people, they move in that direction.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. So you want to get people to have kids, give them something. Give
Right.
anyone anything. Now, you incentivize people the other direction as well. You go, hey, welfare queen, you get paid extra every time you have a kid, but if you get married and get a job, then you don't get, okay, guess who's shitting out kids and getting paid? You incentivize the wrong direction. You can incentivize the right direction.
Yeah.
But either way, we're animals. We'll respond to it.
But I don't know if $5,000 is enough.
Not for you.
Yeah, but maybe someone who's picking up aluminum cans.
Yeah, that person with a cart full of cans and the $5,000.
Yeah, they're unstoppable.
They're an unstoppable, it's perpetual motion machine of having random sex with hobos and collecting their cans that they dropped on the ground.
They could be a real entrepreneur that way.
I agree. All right, let's see. Craig Rothfeld is going to join me in a matter of moments. He's an expert on, he has a legal background, has a financial background, but also is a consultant for people who may be going to prison, maybe coming out of prison. What do you do if you're some white-collar guy and you may be going in for a while?
Oh, wow.
You should talk to somebody to kind of tune you up.
Yikes.
Which is...
That's got to be an interesting job.
It's an interesting job.
Ooh.
We will talk to him. I will give you plugs at the end of the show, my dear Erica.
Okay, thank you.
We'll take a quick break. Be back with Craig right after this. I love real estate, and I love going on homes.com just to see what's going on out there. Homes.com. That is my home when I'm checking out real estate. Well, some might say Homes.com is the best home shopping site. Yeah, I would say that. Maybe Homes.com's super comprehensive and transparent agent directory. Or maybe it's that Homes.com is the only site that always directly connects you with the listing agent who knows all the best info about the home. The person who knows the home the best. Perhaps it's because Homes.com has the most in-depth neighborhood content of any home shopping site that's extensively researched to highlight the personality of each neighborhood. Homes.com goes above and beyond to bring home shoppers the in-depth info they need to find the right home. Homes.com. We've done your homework.
Stream all the movies and shows you love for free on Pluto TV.
Say what now? Showtime.
That means drama is free with heart-wrenching stories from Love and Basketball, Power, and Greenleaf.
In this family, we live by the Spirit.
And laughter is free with gut-busting comedies like Key and Peele, The Neighborhood, Everybody Hates Chris, and Boomerang. Watch all the hits, all for free, from all your favorite devices.
Oh my God, I love it!
Feel the free Pluto TV. Stream now, pay never.
Even more live shows with Adam Carolla at the end of this month in Bellflower, California. 2 shows at the Stand-Up Comedy Club on May 24th. Then on May 30th, he travels up to Washington for 4 shows at the Tacoma Comedy Club in Tacoma. May 30th and 31st, Then off to Spokane, Washington at the Spokane Comedy Club on June 1st. Tickets for these and more at adamcarolla.com.
Now we can talk to Craig Rothfeld, criminal justice advisor, founder and principal of Inside Outside LTD, prison consulting and criminal justice advocacy. Easy for me to say. So it's an interesting story. It's a story that I'm aware of because I have a friend named Nick Santora, who is a pretty famous writer, writes Reacher and Prison Break and all those kinds of shows. And he read an article about somebody who prepares people who go to prison in like the LA Times a long time ago and thought, well, that'd be a good idea for a movie. And then a movie came out that sort of had that theme. And we'll get all into that. But Craig, tell us how you got into this, like the background, expertise, and your time in prison as well.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on. Really appreciate it.
Sure.
I think I could start the arc in a couple of different spots. I think maybe it just builds sequentially. It makes sense. I'm 54. I graduated the State University of New York at Albany in 1993. And I went into public accounting, and then I got my MBA, and I spent my career up until 2012 in financial services and public accounting. It was all I did. It was all I knew. And the significant part of that is really the 2002 to 2012 timeframe. And during those 10 years, I built and I ran and I lost a financial services company with my former partner. And I, in jest will say we lost it as much as because of stupidity as anything else. But we made some really bad decisions. I made some bad decisions after the financial crisis. I'm happy to get into them with you if you want. They're public. And we ultimately shut the business down at the end of 2012. And I thought that was it. I took a bar from FINRA. If your listeners don't know what that is, the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority. And I got on with my life. And February 6, 2014, the Manhattan District Attorney banged on my door at 6:30 in the morning. I was in the shower getting ready to go to a meeting. And that was 26 months later. The feds passed on my case for reasons only my criminal defense attorney knows, or just told me they did. But really, this story, I guess, in this part of the journey starts there. It starts 11 years ago from being indicted on February 6, 2014. And I spent 22 months, I say, defending myself. I mean, I wasn't going to trial, Adam. I had no chance at trial. I was guilty and I knew it. And so I just wanted to get the best plea offer I could, which I did. And I ultimately agreed to a plea of 1.5 to 4.5 years. I went to prison December 15, 2017. I got out December 2015. I got out June 8th of 2017. And I had like this 40 months serious research and development and PhD in corrections. The plan was to write a book.
I'm sorry, the dates got popped around a little. You were in how long total?
I was in 18 months. I went in December 15, 2015. I apologize. And I walked out June 8th, 2017.
Okay. And what was the crime?
Crime was falsifying FINRA financial statements. So took very aggressive accounting treatments on regulatory capital. It was tax fraud charge. I've openly discussed. We ran personal expenses through the business, did not pick them up as income appropriately to save money. And, we were ultimately convicted of that.
Did your partner do time?
Yes, he did. We actually did time together. Ironically, we were sentenced the same day. We went to Rikers Island together. He left after 10 days. I was trapped there for 5.5 weeks because the judge's law clerk did not sign a specific line on my sentencing and commitment papers. I'll never know if it was intentional or not. And then we were kind of 5 weeks behind each other, but we kept catching each other at every facility that we went to. So we did 9 months together, and then he went to one type of work release program. I went to another type of work release program, and then we reunited for the last 7 weeks.
Is Rikers as bad as everyone says it is?
Yes. Worse. Yes.
And you were there for 5 weeks, did you say?
5.5 weeks. So in New York State sentencing law, they're supposed to take you into custody within 10 business days. And it didn't happen because what happens is, whether it's federal or state or any type of prison, you have something called sentencing and commitment papers. Mm-hmm. And the judge has to sign them and the law clerks have to sign them. And then they get sent in. Well, my commitment papers didn't have all the proper signatures. Mm-hmm. So it was like we had to start all over. My lawyers had to go back to court. They had to get the proper paperwork, send it up, and it caused me to be there for an extra 4 weeks, basically.
That sounds miserable, but ultimately, for the service you provide now, maybe it was helpful.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it was not fun by any stretch of the imagination. I'm happy to, let you lead the way on what you want me to share or not share. But yes, I mean, a big part of what I do is predicated on the fact that I spent time inside. I mean, I decided to go get more degrees when I got out as a personal choice. But yeah, certainly it's not to say people can't, I guess, do prison consulting without having spent time in prison. But being inside certainly brings a very unique and different perspectives of the situation.
Well, I would argue it's kind of like being a football coach. You can be a good football coach and not have played in the NFL or at a high level, but it's probably better if you've been on the field, and you've been to the show.
I agree with you. That's a great analogy. I mean, I think I mean, not only just having practically seen it, you've experienced it. You've experienced the traumatic, difficult situations. You're able to explain to people what is coming. A big part of what I do is just reduce anxiety. Right? Everyone's going to have anxiety no matter what. But yeah. I use this term. It's like a Byzantine black hole. I just try to provide a little more clarity to individuals and the families about how it plays out and what can happen at various points, so that when they're sitting there for 9 hours waiting, if I've told them that's normal, it'll reduce their anxiety as they're sitting there waiting. If I'm able to tell families, look, you're not going to hear from that person for 48 hours, then they're not just sitting there thinking something's wrong for the first 48 hours. I mean, those are simple examples. But yes, I think having gone in certainly gives me a unique perspective for both my clients that are inside and their families.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I would sort of liken it to, it may not be as good an analogy as my football one, but I just got done going through a messy divorce, and it was horrible. And you need a lawyer, but you almost need a divorce liaison, like somebody who can go in between, explain stuff, do stuff. It's not enough just to go, I got a lawyer. You know what I mean? That lawyer's got a lot of other clients and so on and so forth. Like, you almost need a liaison somewhere in between, like a lawyer and you. I said you need like a divorce secretary. Like, you need somebody gathering the stuff, making the schedule, like doing the nuts and the bolts. Everyone thinks, oh, I got a lawyer. Lawyers are busy. They're distracted. They're working on 10 cases at once,
It's a fair way of looking at it. You will not be surprised, I don't think, that the two greatest sources of business referrals for me are attorneys and clients in prison. And the attorneys bring me into the case at, as I was saying, various points. It could be before someone goes in, when they're in. But I was with a lawyer today and a new client that became a new client today. And the lawyer said to him as we were talking, he said, look, my role ends when you go in, right? At a state sentencing, you get sentenced and you go to prison. In a federal case, it depends. You can be remanded right away. You could self-surrender. But the lawyer is, at that point, they're done. And then you have somebody to help fill that gap before and then once they're in.
Yeah, the thing I think that bothers me as a taxpayer, and someone has never really been involved with the legal system, is how sort of indiscriminate it can be in terms of, I hate the idea that the feds come to your house at 6:30 in the morning. I don't like when they did it to you. I don't like when they did it to Roger Stone. I don't like when they did it to Lori, what's her name, from just the 10 of us. You know what I mean? Like, just talk to your lawyer, have you come in and surrender. You're not at flight risk. I don't get all the pomp and circumstance of taxpayer money. Someone's going to get shot, by the way, or someone's dog's going to get shot. I don't. Lori Loughlin is who I'm trying to think of. It's like they literally went to her.
I knew who you meant. Yep.
Yeah, I know. Her name hit me, but no one needed to go to her house in Bel Air and kick open the front door at 6 a.m. Just tell her lawyer when, and she'll come downtown and surrender. I don't like the pomp and circumstance part.
And they do it for one reason. I mean, they do it for two reasons. You can talk about the PR of it for the government. The biggest reason they do it is just to scare the living, you know what?
Yeah.
I mean, that's why they do it.
Yeah.
That's it. It is to from the get-go put you on your heels.
Yeah.
We're going to show you. We're the government. We have an unlimited arsenal of tools and money. The government can play as dirty as anybody. It's just a reality. But that's what they do. They want you instantly on your heels in that sort of frame of mind. It's for no other reason. And the humiliation factor, right? That, depending, certainly for people of higher profile, that's what they're going after.
Yeah, I know. I don't like that part of it. But with that being said, I don't know what you think about people like Martha Stewart and her situation, which, I know something about. And I was like, on one hand, I don't want, and maybe Martha Stewart's not the greatest choice. Maybe we'll just say the Duke lacrosse team and Mike Nifung. It's like, I don't want you rounding up the poor black guy and locking him up and throwing away the key. And I don't want you making examples of rich white guys so you can try to get reelected. I'd like it just sort of down the middle,
You're 100% correct. So, I mean, when I got my master's in criminal justice, and I did that after I got out, I wrote my thesis on they're called ATIs, alternatives to incarceration and mental health. And the reality is that, someone like Martha Stewart's a great example. Okay. Did she do something wrong? Yes, she did. Should she gone to jail? No, absolutely not. It was the biggest waste of taxpayer money. It did not deter anyone from doing anything. There was, the retribution was just to her. That's a situation where society is much better served with you want to find the person, you want them to, pay a big fine, which serves a purpose, right? Like, say, in New York, they have a Safe Horizons Fund, and it helps people who are homeless, and it helps women who are victims of abuse. That makes sense. And then let Martha go out and do, 1,000 hours of community service and explain to people what not to do. Her going to jail didn't stop one person in this country from committing a crime. And you're right. I could say that about a lot of other people. The biggest problem you have with the criminal justice system in this country, Adam, and you alluded to it in the way you said it, is you're not innocent until proven guilty. You're guilty until you prove your innocence. That's the way this is set up.
No, I agree. I think about little things all the time. Like, I used to complain a lot that if back in the day, but if they caught you with more than, 6 ounces of marijuana, it was intent to distribute. And I'm like, how do you know if I'm distributing or not? Maybe I just like a lot of weed in my condo, Maybe I do the same at Costco. I'm not selling garbanzo beans just because I buy 7 cans at a time. Maybe I like it. Like, you need to catch me selling it. You don't get to just go intend to distribute. And on a weird level, I felt the same way when I got a chicken shit jaywalking ticket in Burbank a million years ago. I'm like, this is a chicken shit ticket. I was in the walkway. I was in the crosswalk. I don't deserve this ticket. And when I went in to fight the ticket, they were like, pay the full amount of the fine first, then we'll set a court date, and then if you win, we'll give you your money back. I'm like, well, that's not how it should work. We should go to court, and you should figure out whether I'm guilty or not, and then you could get paid or not. I don't pay you and then get the money back. And that's exactly what you're saying. Paying first, and then we'll give you the money back if you're found innocent. That is guilt until proven innocent.
Yeah, and the other thing too is they overcharge.
Right.
So they something they can create a 60 count indictment on a person that has basically 4 underlying issues.
Right.
But they'll just replicate each one of the issues 15 different ways. Because if you go to trial and you go 59 for 60, guess what? We all know what happens. You lose. And then you get punished for something called the trial penalty, which is unconstitutional, but happens every day in every courtroom in America.
Well, it also gets used against you. Like every time I hear somebody who hates Trump, they're like, he was guilty on 24 different felon counts or whatever. It's like each one was a payment to a porn star that he had a hush deal with already. It's 24, which is 24 payments of $2,600. You know what I mean? It's not 24 counts of, I'm sure the ladies from The View know it, but all I'm saying is once it's written, they throw it in your face, right? And it sounds pretty, 24 convictions of 24 separate counts of, it's like, oh, dear Lord, we got John Dillinger on our hands here. We got a Mon Pa Kettle on here. So, timely references, I guess. So I think when people hear about you, maybe they think, oh, he's going to tell them how to make a shank out of a spork or something like that. But it's really none of that, right? It's like, what are the top sort of 5 things you would consult on, or people would, if you were to describe the main thing you do?
I'll put it this way. There's the medical sleeve, right? And we can talk about, specific examples. There's the mental health sleeve. Okay. There's the safety sleeve where I'm worried about their safety the minute they get in for, certain type of offenders. Okay. So you've got medical, you have mental health, you have safety, right? Safety also, if people are assaulted inside, you have what I'll call administrative sleeve, which can fall into programming. People get tickets, they get framed, they didn't get into a program, they got denied a program, they want to appeal it, they have to appear in front of a parole board in the state system. They are in federal prison in Florida. They were convicted in the Southern District of New York, and then they want to live in Florida. You have to flip jurisdictions. That's a broad administrative, right? And then there's the civil rights sleeve, right? It's the people that basically have legitimately had their civil rights violated. And so, there's probably some others, but invariably something hits every client in one of those 5 sleeves. So I can have clients that I get hired before I go in. They're on 4 different psychiatric medications, right? Each state has their own formulary. The Bureau of Prisons has their own formulary. Just a simple example. If you're on 4 medications and 3 of them aren't on the formulary, you need to go to your psychiatrist before you go to prison and have a conversation about which one maybe you can transfer to that is on the formulary. That's a simple thing. They're in and they're not getting their medications, right? That sort of issue. People who have CPAP machines or BiPAP machines, right?
Oh my God! I never thought about it. It's these things you just never think about. Would never think about ever.
Correct.
But it's a piece of medical equipment. You need it, and you may get it or you may not get it. I don't know.
I have. A lot of, I say it all the time. In a lot of cases, one story is worse than the next. I mean, they're heartbreaking. These are heartbreaking stories. I have a client who, made the wrong decision. He drank and drive and drove down the wrong way, and it was, what they call a vehicular manslaughter case. It was a car accident. Someone died. Awful, horrible, tragic. And this individual became a paraplegic as a result of it and has prosthetics. You can appreciate, right? This person is alive. He's got to go to prison. The amount of issues that I've had to deal with to help him keep his prosthetics. Then the officers broke it. Then we have to get him out for appointments. Then they have to get refitted. If they're not refitted in a certain amount of time, the legs swell. Like I've learned a lot of things about a lot of things I never thought I would learn a lot of things about. That maybe you want to consider that a more extreme advantage. But, almost anything you can think of, I've seen it in prison, and it's had to have been dealt with in prison and in that regard. And then, Adam, you have simple things. I mean, I've had clients that I've had Jewish clients had weapons planted on them, straight up anti-Semitic attacks, straight up. And they get thrown in solitary. And, I'm the only one who can talk to them at that point, right? At that point, they have no communication with anybody else. And we have to go through an entire administrative process that can take months to get them out sometimes, and then many more months to get it thrown out and prove that they're innocent. People's civil rights are violated all the time in prison. And it's not right. In my mind, it's not right,
Weapons planted on them by a guard, I assume?
Yes. Yes.
Now, I know Luigi Mangione and Weinstein are clients as well, and I know you can't talk about that as well, but for just people listening, you can kind of picture many of the sort of baked-in things that would go along with that. Any thoughts on, like, P. Diddy, what he's in for? I've said many times, I think he should have fled. I told Mark Garagos, who's a friend, he should have fled. Mark has a fiduciary duty to say he disagrees with me, but I don't know. Maybe he does now. But his daughter, Tenny, is also a good friend, is working on the case. I hear a lot of different versions of it, but I don't know if you know anything or just have any thoughts on it.
All fair questions. I know Tenny. I know Mark Ignifilo, who's lead counsel, happened to have been my criminal defense attorney. So I know Mark. I know Tenny. I know Mark Garagos. I'm very close with all of them. They brought me in on the Luigi case. In cases like Luigi and Harvey, I mean, there are some things I don't mind sharing with you in the sense of what it is like with that. But look, in the Puffy case, in the Sean Combs case, right? One of the first things people talk about is, you have, state cases and state juries and federal cases and federal juries, right? They are night and day, okay? And this has nothing to do with Puffy or guilt or innocence, okay? The way, in state juries, there's much more of the voir dire process. Defense attorneys have a lot more objections. They have much more say in the Constitution and the construct of a jury. And what's interesting, if you think of the two most famous cases, certainly in our lifetime, you and I have to be around the same age, OJ and the Menendez brothers, right? OJ, state case, Menendez brothers, state case, right? So OJ, acquittal, Menendez was hung, and then they retried him. This is a federal case. And federal juries and state juries are never to be confused. And, obviously, this is my life. I'm a junkie and I read it. And when you read about some of these jurors that were allowed to stay on the jury pool, right? I don't know if they eventually made it. It's frightening. If you're someone like Puffy, if you're a criminal defense attorney, it's frightening because one of them was a juror who basically admitted that their boss inappropriately touched them and then kissed them. But can be impartial on the jury, right? I mean, I'm looking at your face and your eyes, okay? Right. That was one. I'm trying to remember the other one. And you're just in a state, that person's never on a jury in a state case, unless they lie through their teeth, right? I mean, you have stealth jurors. And so you're just like, I'm like, it's almost like it's set up that it's impossible to win these federal cases because of the way the jury selection works. It's just very, very different. And I mean, look, we've all seen the video. I mean, it's a bad video, right? I mean, nobody's even defending it. It's a bad video. It's a bad look. And all the jurors are going to see it. And so, I mean, I think what happens in a lot of these cases is, sometimes it's the volume of things that often create the issue. Like with, most people tell you in the Weinstein trial the first time around, people had differing opinions about what he may or may not have done to those complainants. But when the judge sentenced him, the judge just went out right on record and said, "I'm sentencing you to a lifetime of this because all these other people complained, and even though you weren't charged with them and stuff like that." That makes it difficult for defendants in these sorts of cases. It's not like they're overcoming one falsified financial statement or one bad party on one bad night.
Right.
That's what makes it very challenging. On top of the fact that jury selection is very different. And look, if he gets convicted, then he is going, I'm sure he'll appeal, right? But if he gets convicted, then he will leave the MDC in Brooklyn and he will work his way through the federal prison system, no different than anybody else.
Do you think he will be convicted?
Everyone. I am not hedging when I say this, because I don't have a problem having an opinion. I am never right. Okay, I'm never right about these things. What I always say to people is it only takes one to hang a jury.
Yeah,
okay?
No, you're right.
And what I do,
yes. Well, I was going to say, I talk to guys who do nothing but sit around and study sports and analytics all day, and then they pick the wrong team for the Super Bowl. And you'd think they knew something,
impossible.
But it's impossible, is what we're saying. Yes.
It's impossible. When I met, but I'm going to answer your question more fully. When I first met with all the criminal defense attorneys, I had to hire them, right? One of the great lines that they all use is like, listen, we're not bookies. Like, we're not laying odds here. We're not bookies. Like, I'm not telling you, handicapping how many years you might get, you might not get. Can you win a trial? Can you not? And it's the same thing in trials. And every great criminal defense attorney will tell you that they've had 2 or 3 trials. They were certain they were going to win and they were going to lose. And they had 2 or 3 trials. They were certain they were going to lose and they won. Acquittals are very, very few and far between, right? They just are, statistically speaking. That's very, very, very rare. What I do believe is that just based on what I believe is human nature and studying people and studying humanity and spending a lot of time with people in the criminal justice system, is that you never really know what someone thinks deep down inside, right? I mean, someone could literally lie through their teeth about the answers to a lot of questions for jury selection with the sole motive of going up there, right, and acquitting somebody. Right. I mean, that's the reality. And I think that's the thing, you have in the puppy. I mean, I don't know about you. The OJ trial to me is one of the most fascinating things. I've watched every documentary. I watch them over and over and over, Adam.
Yes.
And what I say, this was the greatest example ever of kind of jury nullification and the government giving a jury enough reasonable doubt that they could go do something to make up for 25 years of social causes and issues.
Right.
Right?
Yeah. Well, look,
right?
they've interviewed some of the jurors.
That's the Mangione conversation.
Yes.
Right. That conversation the public's having about, the Luigi case. Right. I mean, right. How many people do you have conversations with? Right. And I can't say anything. They're just like, I hate the insurance companies. Don't do that. You better not put me on the jury. I mean, those are the sorts of things that make these sorts of cases unique.
No, I think it's a very interesting point, which is it wasn't really OJ that was on trial. It was sort of new America versus old America. And it was almost reparations. It was like, look, you didn't own any slaves. You lived in North Hollywood. But what about your forefathers? What about them? And then and this person wasn't a slave, but what about for what their forefathers went through? And now we're having a conversation. It's not just who owned a slave, who was a slave. And with Mangione, it's kind of, we're getting into the same water here, which is, well, yeah, the guy had a gun and the guy shot a guy and the guy killed a guy. But what about all the deaths caused by folks like this who, didn't accept claims for people? which is where you'd want to take it. And it went there immediately. And America, I was pretty surprised, jumped on board real fast. Like I talked to a lot of people that sort of surprised me and went, yeah, well, but I had a situation with an insurance company with my uncle. He was a veteran and they denied. And, 4 months later, he was dead. And I was like, oh, we're having this conversation now. It's no longer about one individual and another individual. It's about a system and a history and a business model. And if you're defending him, I think that's where you want to take the conversation, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, and listen, I wish I could comment. I can't, but what you're saying is exactly what a lot of the public discourse is. And I think in the case of OJ, if you extrapolate it into other types of cases, right? They bungled it so bad that these people could say, you know what, after 25 or 30 years of outright torture, beating, racism, and everything, we're going to let this one murderer walk and we're going to stick it to you. And that's the reality, of what happened, right? And it happens.
I know you can't get into any details or even vague details about like Weinstein, but I think most of America are sort of confused. Like he was tried in New York, then he came to LA, was tried in LA, then he was in prison. I'm in the same kind of boat as I was with Cosby. I'm like, he's in prison? No, he's out of prison. No, he was in. Where is he being tried? What jeopardy is there left? Is there any more jeopardy for Cosby, or is he just out? I know I'm hopping around here, but
I'm going to answer Cosby, and I'm going to explain Weinstein very easily for your viewers, and then I'll talk about some things that I can. And my relationship with Harvey is unique and different, and I've been on the record about certain things. Cosby's case was thrown out by the highest court in the state of Pennsylvania. And he's not being retried, and he's done. That's it. So if Bill Cosby is ever going to face criminal prosecution again, it's going to be for something that nobody ever knows about. You know what I mean? Either something stupid he did in the last few years, right? He's done. He still has civil litigation,
right?
But the criminal litigation, the criminal is out. And ultimately, that reversal came down to something very simple. The government made a promise, and they went back on their promise.
Yes.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, It was that simple.
Right.
Here's where we are in the Weinstein case. He was tried in New York in the Me Too trial. Okay. He had 5 charges. He was acquitted on 3 of the 5 charges. He was convicted on 2 of the 5. Okay. One of the charges, he got a sentence of 1 1/3 to 4 years. It was the maximum sentence he could get. And he's already served more than 4 years. Mm-hmm. So that charge is actually being recharged. I don't want to say it's irrelevant because there's a big difference between being acquitted versus a convicted rapist. But if he is reconvicted on that one charge, right, he can't do any more prison time.
Right.
He was convicted on a second charge in the initial trial, and he could have gotten between 5 and 25 years, and the judge gave him 20 years. Okay. What happened was, I'll give the factual and the public commentary. His attorneys appealed the conviction to the appellate court. Okay. It's the state of New York appellate court. And the appellate court affirmed the conviction. They said, you know what? This was a legal trial. Judge did not make any missteps. Mr. Weinstein still convicted. They then, next option was to go to the New York State Court of Appeals. In New York State, the Court of Appeals is the highest court, not the Supreme Court. And only 1.5% of all cases that get presented to the New York State Court of Appeals are accepted for arguments. It's very rare. Mm-hmm. Something called taking leave. Mm-hmm. Very rare. Weinstein's case, they took leave on. And his attorneys went up to the Court of Appeals. I was there that day. I was in attendance when Arthur Aidala did the oral arguments. And the New York State Court of Appeals, on a vote of 4-3, said that was an illegal trial. The judge broke rules. Judge broke laws. It was Mr. Weinstein did not get a fair trial based on the way the law should work. And we are reversing the decision, and we are sending it back to the Manhattan District Attorney. So at that point, the Manhattan District Attorney had, and this was last April, had a choice: retry him or say, forget it. Now, what had happened while all of that was happening, that entire appellate process, he went to California and got convicted, right? He went to California. 4 people complained out there. He was acquitted on 1, hung jury on 2, got convicted on the last one, right? That judge gave him 16 years and said, I'm not going to let it run at the same time concurrent. You can do the 16 years in California when you're done with New York.
Right.
So where things stand right now is he's convicted in California, albeit, I don't want to say illegal because it's a bad connotation. His conviction in California, his sentence of 16 years was predicated on being convicted in New York. Well, he's no longer convicted in New York, or he's right. And even if he gets reconvicted from a timing sequence, so he's going to get resentenced in California no matter what, even if he doesn't win his appeal. He's being tried in New York now, and one of, I guess, a couple of things will happen. He'll be convicted again in New York. He'll be acquitted in New York, or there'll be hung juries, or a combination. Depending on what does or doesn't happen in New York, will mean New York's done for good or not done for good. If he's acquitted in New York, for argument's sake, or he's acquitted and there's hung juries, and New York says, you know what, enough, we're done with him, then he just needs to deal with California. And he has an appeal pending in California now, and the arguments will be heard on that probably in the fall, and a decision probably by the end of the year. So everybody asks me, you think Harvey's ever going to be free? You think he's going to be free? You think he's free? Look, he has to win, or whatever winning means, in New York, and then he's going to win his appeal in California.
Where's he currently incarcerated? Sorry.
No. So he actually right now is in the Bellevue Prison Hospital ward. He has been on Rikers Island, and I was very instrumental, along with his attorney, Imran Ansari, in getting a judge to issue a restraining order against him being housed at Rikers. So we actually have been successful, and he's been at Bellevue since the beginning of the trial. But the majority of the time, he's been at Rikers Island, which is kind of ironic, right? He's no longer convicted in New York. They reverse it. They throw it out, and he's in the worst jail in the world because there's nowhere else to keep him in custody because he's a convicted felon in California. So I don't know if that was simple or clear, but I tried to do it as easy as I could.
You did you were very succinct, and I now feel like an expert on Weinstein. The question just popped in my head, but ballpark, what are his legal fees going to be when the dust settles on this whole thing? I mean, obviously you're not crunching numbers, but I mean, just kind of ballpark for the lay people.
A lot. I mean, I think people can figure out, he had a lot of attorneys before New York. He's done, think about it. It's all the legal fees for prep, right? You then have your trial, 2 trial attorneys in New York once, then you have an appeal in New York, then you have a court of appeals in New York.
But I mean, are we talking
to a trial in New York.
Over $5 million?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah. Over 10, you think?
Yeah. It's a lot. I'll stop with the over 5 million. I mean, I'm pretty confident you could probably, be like, okay, New York criminal defense attorneys and LA criminal defense attorneys charge this, and he's needed 10 of them, so we can come up with it's a lot.
Billable hours. The Mark Garagos always tells me about the billable hours. Craig, where should I send people if they want to check out what you're doing or interested in some of your ideas?
I appreciate it. They go to www.insideoutsideltd.com.
I find this pretty fascinating. Maybe you should check back with us periodically as things happen in some of these various high-profile cases, because you seem to articulate yourself very well, and you seem very steeped in it as well, because it's obviously a passion of yours. So maybe we'll, when something happens in this trial or that trial, be like a little correspondent for us. Check in with us. Tell us Tell us in.
I'd welcome the opportunity. I'm happy. I'm happy to do it. I'm going to close, or I was going to say something to you that I thought was good. Someone once asked me, "How do you describe your business in 5 words or less?" Right? We've all heard that thing. Whatever. I mean, I think that's even a little shorter than an elevator pitch. But I think the thing that I can leave you with, and I can leave the listeners with, and what I say to people all the time is that, and I got it down to 6 words, which is that I mitigate, I reduce anxiety, and I solve problems. That's ultimately what I'm doing for people. That's my, and whether it's all 3 or 1 or a combination, whatever I do day in and day out is about mitigating, reducing anxiety, and more than anything else, problem solving.
Thanks, Craig. I'll tell Tenny and Mark you said hi, and even Jake, who's not in the system, but he does cook as well. Good to see you, Craig Rothfeld.
Thank you so much for having me.
Appreciate it. All right. I'm going to be in Bellflower doing stand-up comedy, and that'll be May 24th, 2 shows, then Tacoma, May 30th and 31st, and then June 1st, Spokane. Just go to AdamCarolla.com for all the live shows. Erica Rhodes Comedy, .com. I think it's always that, or sometimes we leave that on. EricaRhodesComedy.com. That's where you go until next time. Adam Carolla for Erica Rhodes and Craig Rothfeld and Mayhem saying, mahalo.